to come. Join the team of panelists Mondays to Saturdays, 8 p.m. locally, 4 Eastern Time, and other timings across the world. Tune into our radio services, Spoon 107.5, Fabric 101.1, and Super 95.5. We can also be reached on social media through Facebook or YouTube on Spoon TV, Fabric TV, and Super TV Live. Locally tune in to Super TV Channel 10. Spoon Talk, Spoon Talk, Spoon Talk, setting Liberia's agenda for national growth when the ordinary Liberians, home and abroad, are seeking a platform to make a clarion call to their leaders for a hygienic, political, social, and economical landscape in the motherland. There is one platform that is authentic, they always count on. Spoon Talk, the beacon of hope, the fountain of authentic information for this dispensation and dispensations to come. Join the team of panelists Mondays to Saturdays, 8 p.m. locally, 4 Eastern Time, and other timings across the world. Tune into our radio services, Spoon 107.5, Fabric 101.1, and Super 95.5. We can also be reached on social media through Facebook or YouTube on Spoon TV, Fabric TV, and Super TV Live. Locally tune in to Super TV Channel 10. Spoon Talk, Spoon Talk, Spoon Talk, setting Liberia's agenda for national growth.
Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, Stanton with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the South Band. Charges on the beat.
To the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening in Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what's happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vonjema, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat keep on congratulate my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You want to get a news update, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you about today? Yes,
And your boy, Friday the South Band. Charges on the beat.
To the spoon to get your information. To Total spoon to be part of my discussion. Spoon television. Spoon registration.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon, you ain't know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vanjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat keep on graduate, my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You want to get a news update, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV.
Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV.
Bala.
Skidibidi dabado. Spoon TV. Spoon entertainment.
Kua. Bese kua, go to there. Kua, go to there.
Total spoon to get
Yes, what you
your information.
A special one from the CEO, Stanton with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the South Man. Charges on the beat.
Total spoon to get your information. Total spoon to be part of my discussion. Spoon television. Spoon registration.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon, you ain't know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon.
It's yet another day, a pleasant way to say good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever your time zone is. We love to say welcome to your most informative and reliable program, Spoon Talk. Spoon Talk is here, Spoon Talk is there, Spoon Talk is everywhere. This is where you make sound decision from those authentic information being provided on this platform. We are the beacon of hope, the fountain of beautiful broadcasting for this dispensation and dispensations to come. My name is Rufus Divine Cannon, your sound coordinator for tonight's presentation. Without much ado, James is on the other end. The CEO and the rest of the team will be joining in. So get a friend to tell a friend that indeed Spoon Talk is on. You need to form part and make a sound decision, because information is and important as food, shelter, and water. James, it's over to you.
Yeah, good evening, Rufus. How is Monrovia?
relatively calm.
Rufus, you got me?
Monrovia is
You want to talk?
Monrovia is relatively
Should we say
calm.
highest Miami or highest Monrovia? Which one?
And I want
Oh
to know
man.
Monrovia. It is
Oh, so
relatively calm.
you want to know Monrovia, but I'm you scared. You scared of hell. You scared. I ain't say you man. Call it Miami. You see.
Scary man grave. You can see scary man grave. That's a good man.
That is brave. That's the hero, right? But listen, though, we want to say we are grateful to be back. We are back on Spoon Talk, the 6th day of October 2022. We are so glad to be in your home as you invite your friends, your family members to follow us. Today would be great if we have James Henning. We're going to be discussing issue concerning the brokerage system at the port, commerce, trade. What happened this week when the drugs worth 100 million bucks? You know, somebody looking for money and other people playing in drugs. That's a lot. So we'll be discussing all of these things. And we have the question for the folks again today concerning Mawani Dix. There's a lot to cover, guys. What happened with the rest issue? We should be giving you a full update, all right, on this rest issue. We will not let go till the government tell us that which is right and the truth. We were asked the question, where is the $40 million? We asked the question, what's happening with the people money? They have given this government 14, not even 1 million, not 2, but 14. Rufus, have you seen $1 million check, Rufus?
I hope to see it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Rufus. I thought I was asking James. James, have you seen it? They put have 14.
I saw sample.
You saw sample. At least you saw sample.
I saw $2 million check before.
Where?
In Liberia, I attended an event where Echo
James,
Bank
that's symbolic thing. That's symbolic. That's symbolic.
Sign a check, and at the end of the day, the guys had to withdraw their the withdrawing process.
Listen to Rufus. You will be okay. Please don't hurt yourself. Rufus, you just
symbolic.
Be Rufus.
That is symbolic.
The symbolic part will be big. CEO. I'm talking about the symbolic part. You will see it very wild like this. This is just a checkbook that they brought out just to sign and cut a piece of give it to the people. That is what I'm talking about.
So
not a symbolic check.
So they call it give
just
it to
you? Sign. Yes, sign. Not
James,
me.
You got a checkbook? Let me see your checkbook.
No, map.
Oh, you got map. Let's begin. Let's begin. You got map or you got checkbook?
No, that map. Yeah.
Jay, let's see your checkbook, man. Let's see your checkbook, James, please.
This is a map.
Go get a checkbook, my man. Rufus, you got a checkbook, right?
Yeah.
Rufus, you got a checkbook?
Now sit it, map. Yeah.
No. I get mobile money account. I got checkbook.
Oh Lord, I'm happy to have James Hennon. James Hennon is our guest. He will be joined by our own Uncle Samuel Jackson. You know what, guys? Today, Sam Jackson wrote Tabata on Facebook. He said the rest issue is resolved. You know, if you go to school and you learn too much, that's what happened. Yeah, I just can't wait for him to come. Yeah. James, I'm going to send it to you, James. Let me send it to you. Went on Facebook and he wrote Tabata. Then he said he coming in studio. We got to tell them as it is. And when I asked him what's going on with you, he said, oh, man, the government doing well. Doing well where? Rufus. Rufus, man, how's the rest situation in the country? Because only you can talk to them until we bring the guys on.
It's getting serious by the day. You know,
it's
went out
getting
to get
serious. I'm trying to give you a note because you get Sam Jackson saying it was okay. Let me read Sam Jackson's letter. And we're asking when he get on the set today, how can Sam Jackson say the rest problem is okay? Rufus, is that true?
No, it's not okay.
But why would Sam Jackson say it's okay?
I saw him doing live the last time.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I want everybody to understand that the old man Sam Jackson, the man that know all the book when you talk about the economists, he said the rest problem is firing down.
He's here to answer his question. Now he's here to answer his question.
I knew he was coming in studio. I knew he was coming, Rufus. Why should we sit there and old man Sam Jackson said, listen to what he said. Labra, listen to this. And I want us to hold him. I will open the phone line for you guys to ask Mr. Jackson this question. He said, thanks to Madam Mawani Dix, the rest crisis appears to be coming to a close. Is that true? Liberians all over. This is Uncle Samuel Jackson, the man that graduated just most recently in one of the most expensive and most in America, they say the Ivy League school. This Sam Jackson said the rest problem is okay. Larry Reeves, Patricia Freeman, Towa Johnson, David Colley, and Matt Glasgow. I want to ask every one of you. We have Uncle Sam Jackson in studio. He is telling the president, he is appreciating Mawani Dix, and he's telling everybody that the rest problem is okay. Thanks to Madam Mawani Dix. My first question, why is he giving her thanks? Why is he appreciating her? Hey, Uncle Sam Jackson. Why he think that this rest, you know what? They probably know me. He got friends in America, in Europe, all over. They can send collateral, the papa get retirement money. He can eat anywhere, the papa retire. Say something, James. Say something. James, say something.
You want me to say something? Okay. Honorable Sam Jackson is a serious supporter of the government, so you expect Sam Jackson to come back and defend in order to keep the communication, level, to make the people satisfied, and to us that is why he used strategic English that appear to.
No.
So like tomorrow when you ask him, you will say,
"Stop, James. Stop, James." I'm reading this thing and I'm understanding it because I read with comprehension. Rufus, you are not a reader. He is saying, thanks to Madam Mawani Dix. Why are you giving her thanks and appreciation? I heard today he took flowers. Listen, he took flowers to Madam Dix, Mawani Dix. Bouquet of flowers, and he said thank you. And when I heard that, I called him. I said, Uncle Sam, why are you giving her flowers? Hey man, sometimes if you learn too much education, sometimes we gotta question it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but Rufus, too much education sometimes make you a little funny. The puppet too hip when you talk about the brain. He know too much. He's street smart, he box smart. But sometimes I think today part he miss it. And he said Fuani and others are now selling more than 20 bags to each customer. I have somebody to disprove that. Is that true, Rufus? Are they selling rice, 20 bags to each customers? Liberian, you gotta listen to Uncle Sam. You got to listen to
It's
Uncle
not true.
Sam. The inspectorate has also been confiscating rice from hoarders. The country is calm. Hey man, are we missing something? Uncle Sam said the country is calm, James. We want to see the calmness. Where in the good heaven can he say the country is calm? Newtown, Douala, West Point, Grand Bassa, Nimba, River G, Bon County, McGibby, Cape Mount, Maryland, Sano, Grand Cru, Riverside, Lofa, Montserrat as a whole. Where in the country
That's PR.
are we saying that this country is calm because the government have accomplished something? Where? Man, you're making me bad. Let me bring in Sam Jassy. Where is our guest? He just went to be back, right? Rufus?
And
Yeah,
you're giving me hard time at this.
he's coming. He's in the
right.
GM.
Yeah,
office.
but
Coming.
Uncle Sam, Uncle Sam, let me welcome you first. Let me welcome you. All right, let me serious with Liberia because Uncle Sam, trust me. I read what you wrote on Facebook, and something happened to me. I came home, and my wife said to me, "Stanton, are you okay?" And I kissed my wife on the cheek, and I told her, I said, "No. I'm a man that sat by the river of Babylon crying for my country, Liberia." And I showed her your Facebook page, and she read what you wrote. And she said, "Oh, that Mr. Jackson?" I said, "Yes, that's my Uncle Sam Jackson." I just want to understand from you why you wrote what you posted today. I want to give you the chance to talk to Liberians and make us understand what's going on, Mr. Jackson. What's going on with the microphone? Hold on 1 minute, Mr. Jackson. Can you unmute Mr. Jackson, Rufus?
No, it will cost.
I can unmute myself.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good. Go ahead. Yeah, but what did you do again? Unmute yourself, Mr. Jackson.
I unmuted myself.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Talk to
I'm
me.
okay now.
Yes.
Okay, great. Look, first of all, Stanton, my mom not going to spend time. If you want
I
me to play with me
understand.
tonight, I'm ready for the PT.
Let's talk.
Because me, as Samuel Jackson, I'm from Sonny Wayne, and I'm scared of nothing.
Let's
Let me say
talk.
from Pantoon or Point 4.
No Panton.
You call me, the first thing you text me, you say I'm unpatriotic. Let me finish back. You get yourself several seconds, minutes to excoriate me. You say sometimes we put no book, somebody can turn crazy. Yes, maybe I turn crazy, but let me tell you, we will know book, we speak from facts and evidence. And empirical evidence that I collected today tells me that the crisis appears. Is that the language I use, though? Very
can you tell them
guarded
to
language.
quiet? Can you tell them to stop talking? They are talking and it's coming through the microphone. Please, Mr. Jackson. I think you got folks around you.
I use very guarded language. Well, I think there's a feedback. So we need to go and come back.
You have to meet yourself. Then
Okay.
see you got to bring me back.
Oh boy. We shouldn't be doing this, Rufus. Call Joseph to get this thing taken care of, man. Go ahead, Mr. Jackson. Let's see if we can hear you.
Can you hear me
Let
now?
it increase the volume. Let it increase the volume. Tell him to increase the volume.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, you good. Talk to me.
Okay, first of all, look, I'm under no illusion that there is a rice crisis in Liberia. I was the first courageous pro-government individual who went on the field on Monday and spoke to my water them. And just like I'm being excoriated now for what I'm seeing, the crisis appears to be calming down. I was excoriated by my own people in the government. They said, I was trying to undermine the government. I was exposing the government and all kind of stuff. Stanton, what do you want to learn about me? I don't care what people say about me. You know the reason why I don't care what people say about me? When you are consistent and you speak the truth, people may disagree with you at the current time, but when the evidence reveals itself, you come out smelling like a rose. Monday afternoon, I was going to one of my properties on Jamaica Road, and I saw a huge crowd, a very huge crowd. I mean, oh my God, I was like, what is going on here? So I got out of my car. I'm not a chicken liver. Most people who support the government at my level and at my age would never have approached that crowd. I approached the crowd, and Stanton, you saw that videotape. Those women say we support President. We are, but we have a serious problem. We are hungry. We've been here for days. How do you think that looked to the people who support the president, who already have suspicion about me being an outsider and come to the CDC? So they were questioning my motives. But guess what? What I brought forth to the public glare, you validated that with your video at Zone 5 in Pittsburgh, Joe Bar. The following day, people were fighting for rights. So it was clear then that since the government had not spoken, either they were not taking this thing seriously, or maybe they were having strategic meetings. And I wanted to push the government to
Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, we will not do this. We have a guest in the studio. His name is James Henney. We'll be bringing him. We'll be bringing him shortly. But let me say this to you. Let's just run over your letter real quick. Mr. Henney will be bringing you in very soon. Please. Thank you for your patience.
So,
but Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, whatever it is, let's just go into it. Why did you say thanks to Madam Mawani Dix? Why are you telling her thank you?
Because she was out there today.
She
was out there today. Out in the streets of Monrovia. Going from place to place. Let me finish now, Chief. If you ask me a question, let me tell you the thing. My man,
show me video, show me evidence. Show me something. Show me what Mawani went.
Mawani she's camera shy.
Come on, man. Save me that free talk.
Let me finish. Let me tell you.
With all due respect, don't do that on our program. Save me that free talk. Where was she? Where was she? Where was she? Mr. Jackson, where?
Let me tell you how much to know she went out there.
Oh, you didn't see her?
Went out there.
Mr. Jackson, did you see her? Mr. Jackson, did you see her? Or you heard that she went out there?
Yes, I saw the efforts. I saw the confiscated bag.
No, Mr. Jackson. You will answer the question. Did you see her up there on the feet? Did you see her? You. How is on the show you saying that she went out there?
I spoke to her this morning, and she said she was going to go out on the field, and she was going to call me late in the afternoon to have a talk with me.
Mr. Jackson, and when you kidding me?
Let me finish now. I saw the PSU. I saw some security people that they had gone out there, and I saw the loads of rice that they had confiscated from hoarders. I saw the effects of what she did. So clearly, there's no reason that Mawani Dix would lie to me that she was out in the field. She was out in the field. Okay?
Mr. Jackson, and I will give you all the time we'll talk about the letter here because you will not escape freely today. I want to bring in James.
Let's talk
I know James is not with us forever. I want to bring him in. But you are not being fair to Liberia. You are speaking as if to say, no, you listen to me, Chief. You are speaking as if to say you saw Mawani Dix up there.
But she told me, and I believe her.
No. So Mr. Jackson, listen. When I asked you said no. You believe her because she told you.
Because if she told me she was going out in the field and she was not going to be able to talk to me until late afternoon, and she talked to me late afternoon.
You will not leave the studio. You will not leave that studio till we discuss this issue. Because, and James, please put his letter up. All right. All right. Let me
Letter
bring
up.
our
I will
brother
read my
James.
letter.
Yeah,
I will
you will
read
not
my
leave
letter.
that studio today. We arrest you in that studio. You're not leaving today.
But
We'll read this
let
letter.
them come. Let them come. I'm waiting for them. Let them bring battalion to me. Let them come. I dare them. Let nobody come here to me today. I beg you. That's not scary, man.
James, James, how you
So,
doing? Thank you for
stand up.
joining us tonight, James.
How you doing, my brother? This standing man myself we wanted tonight. Look,
No,
my
let
wife
me
went out
talk to James. Let me talk to James for a little bit. He's the guest because he will be with us for only 1 hour. Then we'll get back to your letter. But I can tell you, Mr. Jackson, I'm surprised at you. A little I got to ask
that's
for
okay.
my 5,000 I gave you. I got to ask for it back. James, what's up, my brother? How you doing?
Yes, sir.
Thank God,
And
very well. Thank God.
yes, I appreciate having you in studio. The rest of the thing will be joining us later. It's good that you are here with our own pap, Sam Jackson. The
Right.
issue we'll talk about the rest business. We'll talk about everything that we know happening at the port. I want to give you the chance. Folks out there really don't know you. Talk to them, introduce yourself and what you do. Then from there, we'll jump into some questions.
Well, thank you, Stanton. Thank you for having me. I'm James Lawrence Hino Jr. and I am the president of the Custom Brokers Association of Liberia. And in case you're wondering what that is, the custom brokers are the intermediaries that stand between the government and the business people in respect to clearing and firing. That means import and export. We are the guys that familiarize ourselves with the procedures and processes involved into clearing. So we give guidance to those importer and exporter to make sure that they paid their legitimate taxes to government. They follow the regulation that is there. In some cases, we are there to defend them in terms of misapplication of the custom code, maybe wrong classification, wrong duty rates. So we are there to look out for the business person to say, hey, government, the duty rates apply on the product is wrong. It's actually should be this duty rate. And so we are in the middle, helping government generate revenue and, supporting the business people and facilitating clearing and foreign goods. That's exactly what custom broker do. But as an institution, as you know, the Custom Brokers Association is different from the custom broker who on the field doing what I just explained. As an association, we are not for profit. We are there to supervise clearing activities, to supervise the brokers in the country, the clearing firm, and to be the one who raising the red flags if there were trade barriers, if there were breach in the procedures, if certain trade protocol were ignored by a specific government authority, we point that out and we call you to check just to make sure that we have a fair play and people can really do business in the country and profit. So thank you so much for having me. I think this is a privilege.
You know what? To our brother James, we want to say thank you for even coming in studio to speak to librarians through this difficult time. Let's hear from you first. Where are you on this rest issue? What's going on? What are you hearing? How we came to this rest crisis in the country?
Well, Stanton, the sensitivity surrounding the issue of that commodity rice, and if since I'm asked to give my opinion on the issue, let me say, quite frankly, that we can have a reliable solution to the crisis until we plan rise ourselves and able to feed ourselves, because the price of the commodity will change depending on the cost of freight. Even when the product price remain consistent, the freight will increase, and when the freight increase, it will affect the price of the rice. And when manufacturers or producer of the rice
increase the price. I mean, what I'm saying is that we usually take the price that is given. And at current, as you know, on the APM terminal, if I get the fast right, we used to pay, say, $9 per ton for rice, because rice is duty free, for the same purpose of government trying to make sure that the commodity is on the market. But now I think it's $18 per ton. So from now to 18 is 2 ton increment. So all those associated costs with the handling of the cargo impacts the price. So when you ask what can you say about rice, there are too many things coming to mind.
What there is no rice on
But
the market?
rice is scarce. Rice is on the market, but the supply of the rice
Thank
is
you very
limited.
much. Thank you.
So because of the limitation of the supply in relation to the people demanding the rice, so we can say rice is scarce for now. And
Well, then let me ask you, because this is where you from, and then I'll bring in Mr. Jackson and more. The issue of rice in the country right now, people are saying they are not seeing it. You use the word scarce, people say crassy, and I think at the end of the day, rice is not on the market. Politicians may play politics, that's what they do best. But the people, the masses, they are going through a very tough time. Why do you think commerce saying they receive $14 million, importers denying it, importers saying that people we should wait till the 15th up to the 24th of October? My question to you, how why are we on this delay? Why are we here? That people have to cry, they have to take on the street. They got to visit Fuanin, SWAT, K&K, and all the other warehouses. It's yet still.
so the rice issue, especially for the importation of rice, it has already been restricted, and that's important to mention. The government want to rely on certain importer, like you just mentioned. Those importer are the guys who, you Stanton, you can't just get up today and go to the common ministry and say, I want to bring in rice. They want to protect and rely on those people that importing rice. So if you look at it, almost like the rice importation is restricted, except you bring in a couple of bags for personal consumption. You or anybody cannot just bring rice for commercial reasons. And so if these people that we rely on, these businesses that we gave the right to import rice, for any reason, if they think that they should increase price, they and the government usually have their own understanding as to controlling price, whether it's something to incentivize them, to give them some resources and so they can keep the price stable. But I'm saying, like, there's no there's no government that can have direct control over the commodity that they are not supplying. So we at the end of the day, we will subject ourselves to the importer. So for government to get over this, like I said from the beginning, it have to be a very substantial investment that maybe leads to production of rice. Then we can talk about it. That is exactly what I can comment about. The rice
I'm going to
importation.
respect your answer because I shouldn't be the one pushing you and holding your feet to the fire. So, Mr. Jackson, you can come in with your question, then we go to Mr. Ali.
Okay, I don't have any question, but what I want to basically say is that I've been around this rights issue since I was a young man. 1979, I was part of the Progressive Alliance of Liberia that was we demonstrated against the price of rice, and the arrest riots ensued when state security officers shot and killed several, maybe dozens or maybe hundreds of people, but we never know that. So I know about rice. I know it's a political commodity. I also know about rice because I was a commodity credit analyst at Chase Manhattan Bank when I was a young man. I know about cost. I know about insurance. I know about freight. And then as an economist, I know about the cost structure and I know about the global circumstances. When I was a young man in 1979, America was a leading exporter of rice, but that has shifted to China, India, and Pakistan. So they have developed a comparable and competitive economic advantage. Liberia does not have the ability as it stands right now to be self-sufficient in rice production. No West African country has that ability. There are technical reasons for that. One of the technical reasons for that is the structure of our economy in terms of support, in terms of the financial support to agriculture. Liberia, only 4% of bank credits go to agriculture. In the whole of Africa, we have 60% of global arable land, but we only the global agriculture export only 20%. China, Pakistan, India, and those other countries in the United States, they do significantly better than us. Okay, so what is it that we need to do in order to stabilize the price of rice? We have to be very clear that we need to find ways to support local rice production. We did that with the cooperatives before, but we have an inherent competitive disadvantage in the production of rice because of our soil. We need fertilizers, we need other implements that make it difficult. And the cost of producing that rice makes it not competitive. So the Pakistanis, the Indians, and the Chinese, they have that global competitive advantage. So we are ordering rice from the Far East to the tune of $250 million. But there are instances where now, because of COVID and the war in the Ukraine, they've been disrupting global value chains and also been
Mr. Jackson,
the cost.
Mr. Jackson, I know again. Yeah.
I think
Finish
no
up with
one
that
has
story.
explained it to Liberian people. Let me. I gotta add it because he explained it to Liberian people as a customs broker. Let me explain it as a former deputy minister of commerce and industry.
Mr. Jackson, I want to ask you a question. I know you're speaking. I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you believe that $14 million was transferred from finance to commerce?
That is a different conversation that
No,
I'm
Mr.
not
Jackson,
capable.
I'm asking you a question.
Yeah, but listen to me. I've heard suspicion and even voiced that to you in a text message. I did that. I'm above board. I've been hearing all these rumors.
Do you believe that $14 million? No, Mr. Jackson, I'm not talking about our text messages. I'm asking you on the show.
Where says no. Okay? I spoke to Mawani and Mawani.
Wait 1 minute. Wait 1 minute. You asked Minister Twe, and he said no.
I asked Minister Twe. I said, this is the rumor that is. So, Stanton, let me ask you a question. You think I just support the government blind? Let me just finish. You need to understand this damn a minute, Dave. You think I just support this government blindly? When I hear things, I don't confront the people in the government because I'm afraid of the little cheese that they would give me. I'm too big for that.
I don't think that about you. And again, I just want to go back to what. No, listen, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson,
chance to talk.
Mr. Jackson, I will give you the chance. First, let's slow down. I want us to have a good conversation tonight.
You're getting me hyperventilated because the way you're not allowing me to explain it. So that
I don't want you to explain too long, Mr. Jackson, because
but we get this angle. I'm telling you, I'm an empiricist, I'm an economist, I'm a prominent citizen of this country. People, listen to me. So before I speak publicly, I have to make sure my facts and my figures.
But we don't have all the time for you to take because we got a guest in the studio.
Okay,
you got to speak under the 2 minutes.
Let me tell you, I asked Minister Twe frontally. He said, no, Sam, it's not true. In fact, I just yesterday paid $4 million to the Ministry of Commerce towards the subsidy. He said that to me.
So let me ask you a question. We are on the same line, Mr. Jackson, because I know where my question coming from. You asked Mr. Twe. Minister Twe said it's not true. But let me finish, sir. Can I finish?
The government of the Republic of Liberia.
But
and I have access to him. So I'm asking. But so Stanton, why would you ask me why I asked Minister Twe? The chief fiscal officer of the Republic of Liberia, if people
I'm not
say
asking.
they
I am not asking you why you
they
asking.
are spending money,
I am
they
not.
didn't go to
I
the
am not
appropriate
asking
place.
you. I am not asking you why you
I'm
asking.
going to ask
No,
a colleague on Broad Street.
Mr. Jackson. I am not asking you why you asked Mr. Tway. I am not. Let's just speak one at a time. I'm repeating
Okay, so
what you
ask me
said.
again. Yeah.
I'm repeating what you said. I asked you the question, do you believe that 14 million was transferred from finance to commerce? And you said no.
That's
You
what
asked
they
Mr.
said,
Tway,
and
but
contrary
you're not
to
giving me
any
the chance.
evidence, I don't
You are not giving me. You're not giving me the chance again, though.
I cannot give you a yes or no. I'm an intelligent man. We don't answer yes or no questions. It's not
No,
a
I
court
am
of
not
law.
asking you yes
You're
or
not,
no. But give me a chance. Let me
everything is
finish,
contextual.
Mr.
Okay, sir.
Jackson. Mr. Jackson, please give me a chance. Let me finish. I am repeating what you said. You asked Samuel Tway, and Samuel Tway said no. Samuel Tway told you, Mr. Jackson, I have just approved 4 million to be sent over to Mawani D's. Mr.
Yeah,
Jackson, the reason why I'm asking, let me finish that. Let me
$4
finish.
million to the Ministry of Commerce. He said that. He said
Let me
that to
finish.
me.
Let me
And
finish,
I
Mr. Jackson.
swear.
Mr. Jackson, let me finish. You see what I have in my hand? I have documents.
Wow.
And I brought you, Mr. Henny, and I want the folks to listen to us that we can discuss this $14 million. The story you explained, I already have it. So you're not saying something new to me. I'm trying for you to say it to the audience.
No, but you are not the audience, Stanton. You are not the audience. I'm speaking to the Liberian audience. I have an agenda. My agenda, I'm a surrogate, I'm a propagandist for George Weah re-election for 2023. You have the information. The rest of the public don't have that information. So I'm a propagandist. I'm a surrogate. Okay. I'm an ardent supporter of the government of the Republic of Liberia.
Thank you. Let me go back to Honorable. Let me go back to Mr. James. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. James.
Okay.
Mr. James. Whenever you put a Basso man and Mr. Henny, whenever you put a Basso man or crewman together, this is what they do. All right. We know where we're from. But let me say to you, Mr. Jackson just said that Samuel told him as of 2 days ago, he approved of $4 million to be sent. This morning, thank you, sir. This morning, he approved of $4 million to be sent to.
He said they disbursed $4 million recently, yesterday or the day before.
They disbursed $4 million
he said that.
to Ministry of Commerce. Mr. Henry, the story is not adding up. And I understand that the reason why I brought you on the show for us to talk about the brokerage system at Freeport. But help us and let Liberians understand this. A week ago.
What's the
Say that?
No, go ahead.
A week ago, we had Representative Kogo in the studio.
Right.
Exactly. They said, Samara Wodokodi said 7.5 million to Commerce Ministry. Commerce Ministry, a gentleman there called Roden Morris said, no, you gave us $3.5 million. 2 days ago, maybe yesterday, Commerce Ministry Kimberly said we received $14 million that which we have given to the importers. We received information this morning that Samuel Tway said he disbursed $4 million to Commerce Ministry. What the hell going on with this figure? Who's lying?
Yesterday or the day?
Yeah. But you understand where I'm coming from, Mr. Henry? And I will address this where Liberia will hear very clearly today. What's the hell going on with this money thing? Who's lying and who playing game? Talk to me, Mr. Henry. Then I will bring in Kev Hassan.
Well, Stanton, all I continue to say in relation to this rights issue, we know that Funny Brothers have had a rice vessel in the port for 35 days now. 35 days of loading. The reason why they say it's taking that long because every time they start to work, and then there's heavy downpour rain, so they'll have to cut it off. Usually, the ship take about a week, but they have been there for 35 days now. And the good news that we've been hearing is that 2 vessels is expected to arrive at the end of the month. One will be on the 23rd. But to verify whether the information given by the people in government. I don't have access to those information, so we'll talk more about the clearing activities
I
and
respect that. Let's talk about what you came for. Then Mr. Jackson and the rest of the guys, we're gonna fight this later on after you leave. Uh, uh Through what I received today, I think I will ask you the question about your press conference. You had a press conference, correct? A few days ago, and you make mention about the drugs that DEA and the American embassy confiscated, and yesterday they burned that drugs. Can you talk to us about your press conference and your anger and frustration as you express?
Okay, thank you. Let me begin by saying that the issue with unwanted substances, especially drugs, is something that is of serious national security interest. And I believe that the necessary security apparatus are working to uncover what happened. And that press conference is a usual quarterly press conference that the Brokers Association will periodically have a discussion on things that they believe trending, what affects brokers, what happening in clearing and filing process, and come up with usual press conferences. And so that was one of that. The reason why we mentioned the issue with the drugs was because we've always pointed out that there are procedures established uh, to follow if anybody want to import into the country, except that we've been saying that people there are certain businesses who were not following those procedures, and they were allowed to do things in contrary to the established procedure. And coincidentally, it came out that the one of the companies that imported the container into the country that had this unwanted substance in it, were one of those companies that usually giving those opportunity to go free flow. And we mentioned the name of that company into the press conference, and so everybody got their attention, wanted to know what were we talking. But every time somebody import into the country, their ownership of that commodity and the bill of lading will spell out actually who owned the commodity. So when we got access to the bill of lading, we went to Masland system and such, and it clearly rating on the bill of lading that TRH owned the consignment. While we cannot confirm whether or not they were the one that put the drugs into the container, we can clearly and safely say that they are the one that imported the exact container into the country. So our argument was not more about the drugs. It was about the breach in procedure, and that procedure, if I may explain better, when you import in the country, you begin with the Ministry of Commerce. You notify the Ministry of Commerce on whatever commodity you want to import, so that they give you approval. And it is important because they have to assess whether commodity on your invoice are contraband, they ain't supposed to come to the country, whether they get specific restriction or it require certain specified documentation. So once you carry your documentation there and that document is approved, it means that commerce tell you to go ahead and import. So you now go to Medtech Scientific, which used to be BVAC, but now they have changed to do documentary inspection on your documents and give you a report that will indicate the estimated custom duty. It is that document that anybody should use to make declaration to custom, for custom to make an assessment on your import. But we've noticed that these businesses make declaration to custom based on uh, their bill of lading and invoice only. So while all the other custom brokers are working for every other company go through the process that is established, these businesses get their invoice, get their bill of lading, and make declaration to custom. So we thought it was unfair to the other businesses. And so brokers continue to complain to the offices that, these are what happening. And the association usually, when these complaints come, we are the ones to speak out. More so, there are commodities that are not contraband. There are consumable commodities. Say the chicken feet, for example. That ordinary citizen on the street usually consume chicken feet, the chicken upper back, the chicken hand carrots, that's how they call it. Those commodities only being imported into the country by the TRH and the Fresh Frozen Food. And those two companies are part of the Abijade group. So it is not now. We've been making the argument that like all the other businesses who register legally to do frozen food more than 1 year now, Stanton, they have never approved any import notification for these three commodities that I just identified. And sometimes in some cases, because we move to destination inspection, in the past you have to do your pre-shipment overseas, get your BVAC inspectors to go. But now when you grab your commodity, since we move to destination inspection, people don't usually go through all those procedures. As you grab the commodity, you load it on the vessel, you come to the country, you follow the procedure. So as we speak, there are brokers who have consignment for their clients in the port, and these frozen food material, when they arrive, they are plugged to electricity, and you pay for the electricity every day. You pay about $90 some cent every day as that container remain on the plug. And as you know, APN terminal have 5 days. When that 5 days expire, they begin to accumulate storage, and that storage charge is incremental. Then after 10 days, you get to the 11th day, the shipping now starts to bill you something called demurrage, which is the extra charges. So when these containers are in the port and the import notification form at Commerce Ministry, and they can't get approval to be able to move on with the process to move the cargo out of the port, the complaints come to the office of the association, and we sometimes try to make interventions so that Minister of Commerce will see reasons to sign. More so, the SETI brother they are producing steel material in the country. SETI brothers. Because of that, they have protection for those steel materials. Anybody that bringing anything that steel plate, steel bar, nails, steel nails, all those kind of things. And only because they produce it in the country, they try to restrict the importation of it. But other people register to do sales of construction materials, building materials in the country. So those people, the only penalty that we know as broker that is placed on them, since we're protecting a local manufacturer because they're providing job, is something we call surcharge. So if you import nail into the country, you import steel bar into the country, and all those associated steel material, there are extra charges they put on the consignment other than the custom duty, the GST, the ETL. That surcharge is there to protect the local manufacturer. That's the only penalty measure that we have. But what we've always noticed, what has been happening when people bring such commodity to the Ministry of Commerce, the minister don't sign those documents under the pretense that they are protecting the local manufacturer. So our argument has been that the system in place allow anybody to bring these materials, except that those who are bringing it out of the country have to pay the surcharge, and the people are willing and ready to pay the surcharge to government. Nobody else have the authority to deny people of trading, to deny people the opportunity to trade. So among all the other things are the reason why the press conference were called. I said coincidentally the drugs incident came in, so we have to add it there. And we were saying maybe it's because of because the people know that they wouldn't go through too much scrutiny, or they have not been going through all this scrutiny. Maybe that's why they saw that they could have used the person that used that business could have used that business because they know that the business actually had the leverage to avoid certain procedures. And we indicated to you, the documents that we saw, the cargo tracking note in the country, the CTN. I think you have had, even we as custom broker had issues with the CTN over time. We got educated, we got to know that it is not only in Liberia, in other country, and it's called by the Homeland Security Maritime Approval Aid. So America wanted to know what's moving on the vessel, what is on the water. So they want to have securities, awareness of the kind of cargo that is moving, because they believe that vulnerable port like the free port of Moravia or any other port, people go to these vulnerable countries, the vulnerable port, and put substance on the container that was not there during the origin, during the time of loading that container. So the CTN sent a warning, and the LRA and people in the system, before you get an assessment notice to say this is your payment, go and pay government revenue, they have to review your METEX certificate. Your METEX certificate, they have to review your cargo tracking note certificate as well, because the cargo tracking note certificate usually sends security warning. And in this particular case, with a particular container under consideration, if you look at the CTN certificate, you will see that they said this consignment should physical examination should be done on the consignment. It means that all those that encounter that paper, even the LRA, while doing the assessment, had the warning that there's a container in the port that needed certain control. So we were surprised for those indications to be on the CTN certificate, and the cargo left the port. So basically,
Okay. So
our interest, yeah.
no, go ahead, finish up because we want to talk about the cargo. Finish up.
Our interest is not specifically about the draws. Our interest is the breach-in procedure, and we believe that when the rules are set, and since we are the one following the procedure, that procedure should be unique to every legitimate business that is paying tax to the government. There shouldn't be preferential treatment for any specific business. And clearly, this is the case with the TRH, and that's why their name was mentioned. So even if there were no draws in the country,
So
that
who
press
gave?
conference was
Yeah, I
to have
understand, but
been held.
who gave the preferential treatment to TRH or Abu Jali?
So the first line of contact, the Ministry of Commerce. Usually the TRH do not process import notification form. In the case where they do, I mean, they get the signature right away, unless the other businesses who apply to Ministry of Commerce for import notification form, and it take them a whole lot of scrutiny. They have to go and see what you have. In some cases, too much. I got import notification form in my office that brokers brought copies to say, please help me and make intervention and let the minister sign as the commodities are in the port, accumulating charges. But many times we don't get the
So
corporation.
thank you, James. Thank you, Mr. Henry. Guys, we are talking about the drugs that came into the country. I know we'll go back to the rest issue, but we invited James because he's the president of the National Burglary Association in Liberia, and I think he's the best person to speak to at this time. The drugs enter the country. James, my question to you, you said it right, and I have the document over here. You see, you guys, it's like a signal they gave Liberia. You need to physically search the container. You think American or other folks out there, they were aware that something was on that ship, that they just pointed to that ship? Because I have all the document, and I think I share with you guys. You think that somebody were aware that drugs or contraband were on the ship, so they're asking you guys to physically search the container?
Well, I mean, we are not the one, just for correction, we are not the one that can do inspection. Okay.
Liberia,
Usually
if I
the
mean you
system is
guys, I
that,
say Liberia.
okay. All right. So it the custom look at the risks associated with the commodity. So over the time, if you've been having issue, then they will demand that the container be open in the port for inspection. Or if they believe that you are a regular business person, they have gone there, done inspection several times, then they decide that you will, in whatever case, there has to be inspection, but then the inspection will be done at your premises. So the point that I'm making, if these cargo tracking node company, the CTN, that we depend on for our international surveillance to raise a light on wherever on the sea, mention on their certificate that this consignment is subject to physical examination. All I'm saying, that alone is an alert to people who encounter the document and through the clearing process. And so for that alert to be there and the cargo left the port, that was concerning.
Wow. Let me bring in the rest of the guys because when we did this is very concerning. Let me bring in Dr. Peabody or Mr. Jackson. We're not talking about the rest right now. Let me go back to you. Then I'll go to Kev Hassan and Ben Sevi Mo Ali. This drugs issue, I got the information and I believe I shared in our chat room. They advise that the consignment should be physically examined. They pointed that out. It was carrying something. And then we'll go into the rest of the story. Mr. Jackson, where are you with this story?
Let's just be very clear. Drug is an extremely profitable global business. In Liberia and a lot of countries in West Africa have been major transshipment points for drugs coming from South America to go to Europe and North America for a very, very long time. We have weak institutional structures here. We have decadent corruption that's existed for many, many years. And a few years ago, if you remember, there was a major bust in this country where some South Americans came in and they tried to compromise the National Security Agency on Fuma Salif. And then they were busted here by my very good friend, Sam Gay, who was the DEA chief in Nigeria for the United States. So there will be attempts, consistent attempts to use Liberia ports. And I understand where you're coming from, Mr. Haney. It is a serious problem. And they can easily, because of the significant amount of money involved in the drug trade, it's very easy to compromise people. It is a serious problem, and all we need to do is to do number one, build capacity to combat that, and number two, on the demand side for ourselves, that there's a serious Zocofication of Liberia right now. The Zoco use, but they're mostly used what is called, this is an opium based, what is called Duji. That's what they use, okay, and that's coming from the Far East. But this is concerning, and I appreciate your concern, and I hope that we have this conversation at all levels moving forward to make sure that we secure our ports against the importation of contrabands to our country. And thank you very much for taking the opportunity to come. And that's all I can say. I don't have any question for you. I know the drug business very well because I lived in New York for a very, very long time, and I saw the serious erosion of in dysfunction that drug caused in my neighborhood of Flatbush. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Thank you very much. Kev Hassan.
Yeah, James, welcome to the Spoon Talk.
Thank you, Kev.
Before I go in, information reaching the 3 people were arrested at the Sierra Leone border in regard of this drugs issue. One, Oliver Zeze.
Don't call the name, Kev. I got the information. Don't call the name. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but we need to let the people know about it. But anyway, well, my thing is, I kind of, want to get what actually brought you here, because it seems like everything you talk about, the drugs already being burned down. I want to know what is the issue right now. I'm not getting the issue that brought you here. What is the main issue that brought you here? Because I think the security apparatus are handling this thing correctly. I think the government handled this thing correctly. Was applauded by the United States. So what is the issue here that I'm now getting?
Thank you. Like I said, thank you, Kev. Like I said, I didn't come here to talk about the drugs issue. It was coincidental that it came in at the time we were having our press conference and it happened in the port, so we had to mention it. But I'm here to talk about the vulnerability of the port. Okay, all of the port that have traveled in the region, there are scanning machines that, you know, you just drive your container through, and it will any commodity other than the commodity you declare, nobody have to stop that container, open it, and physically examine it to know that there was something unwanted in the container. But at the free port of Monrovia, there is no one scanning machine to do so. Besides, the inspection facility we have is so narrow, it accommodates 2 containers at a time, and there are a whole lot of containers. And so the congestion issue is a serious problem. And so the Metec Scientific that is here, under their contract, they are supposed to build a very big facility in the port that will accommodate 15 containers at a time, that will have several scanners at a time. And so those people have been waiting to be given a parcel of land to construct those facilities in the port. So, appreciation to Thomas Doe now for all the effort exerted. But up to now, the land that was given to the people to have begun the construction of those facilities, that land stay surrounded by issues, because we heard at one point that the government took the land and gave it to this mining company called Western Cluster. So later on, we heard that Thomas do not make intervention, and small parcel of the land they were negotiating with another group there to get it. So, our thing is an urgent need for us to improve the port and to build a facility that accommodate inspection, because as you know, we're going full destination inspection. A lot of things coming from all over the world not being inspected, because we are the one that were crying yesterday before the president we are took over, that the business people are going through a lot. They have to contact BVAC. Many times they will change their hotel time. They will have to change their flight ticket just to make sure that pre-shipment inspection is done. And we thought it was burdensome. So now that we move on to destination inspection without having the facility in place to accommodate this, it is one of the reasons why we came here to highlight the vulnerability of the port and the urgency for Metec Scientific to do what is under the contract for everybody in government to ensure that that is done. And more so, the Ministry of Commerce should make the playing field level for us. Chicken feed, chicken bag, those are things that we eat every day. For more than a year now, a single business group bringing this commodity, and everybody else that want to apply to bring the commodity, they are denying importation of the commodity, is concerning. And that's why we reach out to the public to let them know what's happening. Because, all those that have a legal registered business to do frozen food, they should be given the chance to import whatever frozen material. The only assurance that we want, it should be safe for our consumption. But if people give preference to one company, that's an issue that is concerning, and it's one reason why we want to highlight this. So those are the reasons why we are here.
You talk to the Commerce Ministry about this. What are you explaining? Did you have a meeting with them? Did you request a meeting? Did you try connect to the Commerce Ministry concerning this issue? You explain.
So we've had a whole lot of issues going before now. When her Honorable Mawani Dix take over, the brokers went on strike for 3 days, and one of the issues was the denial to improve to sign RPDs. At that time, we wasn't using the import notification form, we're using the import permit declaration. So on that, we were raising the same issue that people import notification was not being signed. Certain importers were allowed to bring certain commodity, and other people who had the rights to do so could not do that. And we had a way to resolve it. Among other things, the APN terminal inefficiency, and thank God they have improved now. So we had a long conversation about this for reason why you have not been hearing issue, complaining. We have been accommodating this, but these issues still exist. And like I said, when people reach out to me that their document is not being signed, the Honorable Minister and myself have a relationship. We talk on the phone, we talk on WhatsApp, but in recent time, I have conversation here where I send couple of import notification form concerning the same issues that we're raising. for her intervention and speedy approval so that those goods that are in the port will be released and stop the charges that are being accumulated, and there have been no attention given to it. So I'm very sure this is something that it is not strange to the Ministry of Commerce. In fact, her special assistant, Ms. Tober, know that I shared a couple of documents with her, and I pray on her to intervene on my behalf with the minister for those documents to be signed on behalf of the brokers who were complaining. And since this is not happening, we thought to bring it to public attention so that people know when they are public servant, they answerable to us. And so that's the reason why we are here.
Thank you very much. Peabody?
Mr. Hinnett, good to see you. Good to see you, James, and welcome to the Spoon Talk. You have alluded to a couple of things here. So tell me exactly, you guys have engaged officials in the government and others. What do you want to see happen immediately? What do you want to see happen now?
Come up, please.
I said, what do you want to see happen now?
So I want to see, firstly, we want to see that the clearing procedure that are in place is unique, and everybody in the field of import follow those established procedure. We don't want people to be given preferential treatment in the process and denying other people to earn profit in the economy. We don't want that. We need the port we need the government and the authority responsible to position the port to be the supplier, the transshipment hub for our region because of our proximity to the other countries around. To do so, we need to have the facility in the port that can give rise to full inspection. We need scanning machines, like I mentioned. That arcade thing about opening container, busting people's barrel, going into people's stuff, those things. In our region, we are the only country that are doing it. So this appearance is to call the government actors to attention that since we have contracted Metec Scientific and the business people, we are paying them thousands of dollars every day on their contract. They're supposed to construct this facility for us. This is an urgent need. It's in the interest of the country. It's in the interest of everybody, and in the best interest of the Custom Brokers Association. And that's why we're here to highlight these challenges so that people pay more attention to making sure that the port have the facility that is required to be the transshipment hub. And our procedures in place for clearing process should be followed by every businesses. And like I mentioned, those business people who are into frozen food that call me every day that, we for more than a year now, we cannot import chicken feet, we cannot import chicken back. You see it as an ordinary thing to say what the guy come and be talking about, but these are things that discourages other business people and give others competitive advantage. And we believe that everybody who in the economy to earn profit, who are legally registered, who are paying their taxes, they should be given the chance to do business without giving certain people preference.
When you talk about certain people preference, who are those people you think,
So I mentioned earlier that the SETI brother, for example, why the manufacturers still place there.
Foreigners, locals, who?
The SETI brother corporation is a foreign business. It's a foreign business. And so there are other Liberians are involved into importation of building materials. Because of them, people don't bring steel material and get approval. Under the pretense that the minister argues that she's protecting local industry. We are saying she don't have the right. The only punishment for them is the extra cost that they pay to government, the surcharge, and that should remain as that. Specifically on the issue of the frozen food, it is the TRH, the fresh frozen food, and all those companies, the fresh frozen, the TRH, they are under the Abijade Group, which is a foreign business.
So what Liberian group have been given that opportunity? Because you talk about Abijale, SETI brother, I'm sure there are other foreign businesses. So you believe that Liberians business are not given that opportunity? I mean, because I don't hear you talk about any other Liberian business yet. So
Liberian business and other businesses, other foreign businesses are alike. And these businesses that I mentioned, they have complete competitive advantage over the other businesses, and the record are there proving, like reviewing their declarations. Most time you see that, you know, those required documents that I mentioned, for instance, under the Asakula system, there's a
You got it?
provision where people can make declaration to custom using only their invoice and the bill of lading. So the LRA, for example, says nobody should use the info for declaration except, for specific reason why you are rating and you get approval. But now, while we go through the process of paying METEC, waiting for, weeks to get our report before we made declaration to custom. Other people there just grab the bill of lading and the invoice and made declaration to custom and is accepted. So we believe it's a competitive is a disadvantage to other businesses, and that's why
Ah,
we continue to insist that when the clearing process is the rules are established, everybody should play by the rules.
thank you. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Let you guys can continue. I'm literally listening and learning. I think some of the questions I had, I was listening and he answered it. So
So
you know,
let me ask you a question before moving to Sintomane. Who signed the release of that container of the port?
Come on.
Who signed the release of the container? Where you had the drugs? Who signed the release? Who approved the release?
Who approved the release for the container? Well, I wouldn't know the specific, but the procedure is such that when you make declaration to custom and you file your assessment notice, you pay your custom duties, you go to APN terminal, you certify the requirements, you you get released from. There's a specific office in the one-stop shop at the Freeport, the custom building, that the release officer is there that will, review the documentation that you submitted online and release the container. But I mean, if you look at the declaration, nobody we're just seeing the bill of lading and the invoice, because it is said that the container contain pork, you know,
So
pork, which is
exactly.
consumable good,
So
So
let me
nobody,
ask you this, James. Let me ask you
Mhm.
this. Who issued the RPD?
the Ministry of Commerce.
So it only came
But
from
in
the
a
minister
case, the
proper.
particular consignment did not we are not using RPD again. The RPD has been replaced by the import notification form. In this particular instance with this consignment, there was no import notification form. They didn't use import
Why?
notification form to make declaration as is
Why?
required.
Why?
Well, we'll be asking the comment ministry why. Like I explained the procedure, you must get
I
your import
understand you
notification
explain the procedure.
approved.
I just want our audience to follow through with this thing because I'm coming from somewhere with
So
this.
anybody importing the country, you must get import notification form. But in this
Correct.
case, with a particular consignment under consideration, there were no import notification form given. The people
So
make their declaration based on
the
the
input
availability and their
notification
invoice.
form, the input notification form should come from Commerce Ministry, correct?
Ministry of Commerce, Minister signs that import
And the
notification form.
minister
And
herself should be.
specifically for frozen food product, only the Minister proper signs it.
So
Only the
then
Minister
why should?
proper signs it. Nobody else.
So we understand, James. So then the minister on this particular consignment, she signed the input notification form. Minister Mawani Diggs signed on it. Therefore, it came to the country and it was. But why you guys? The question remains. Something is missing. That's where I'm going. Why you guys really don't know who signed it? Do you have the document? Because what I'm looking at here, and please help
Saying
me.
to you, I follow through with a custom declaration. Every time you make declaration, you submit to custom your input notification form, your bill of lading, your invoices, your parking list. Everything is online on the Azakuda system. and I have the ability to check every document submitted if I want to know what was submitted. I'm telling you that this particular consignment, there were no import notification form attached to the document. The people make the declaration based on the invoice and the bill of lading. So, and nobody asked them, nobody queried them why you didn't submit import notification form. And that's where we're coming from to say you requiring everybody to submit import notification form. Why was import notification form not attached on the declaration for this consignment under consideration?
And thank you very much, James, because that's we're going to flow through and follow on that sentiment because something is just not being right when you talk about the import notification form. Mawani Dix is the one responsible to sign on it, but now the question is, she didn't, or she did, or they were given a special treatment. That we'll call it. Sentiment, talk to us.
Yes, good afternoon, good evening, Mr. Hinnett. Good to see you.
Thank you.
I listened to your press conference you held, I think, yesterday or so. My first question is: Do the Custom Brokers Association, do you guys have confidence in the Minister of Commerce at this time?
Well, it's not really up to the Custom Brokers Association or to have confidence in the Minister of Commerce. It's the prerogative of the president to continue to have confidence in whoever public official they appoint. But like we continue to point out, I mean, I can't. I'm not the one to say. I'm just saying that the minister is not following the procedure as we know as clearing, and refresher treatment is being given to TRH, Fresh Frozen, and those companies are on the Abijade group, and we are surprised to the extent that she's very aware that there's no ban on any product, especially building materials, and her refusal to sign those import notification form is something that makes us to question the authority that she have, because once the commodity that is coming to the country is not contraband and the person have legal business registration to do that line of business, you are just obligated to sign the product. So without giving any justifiable reason that okay, this product is contraband and it's not allowed into the country, or your business registration expire, and you keep the people document there for months, and they run to us and come to our attention, then we believe that, I mean, maybe you are not paying attention to what you're supposed to do in line with approval of import notification form, and you prioritizing other things. But as to whether we should have confidence, we don't have to have confidence. They should just do their piece of job. That's all.
Yeah, I'm asking because I know during the press conference you expressed frustration about the way how documents, your people documents have been kept with the ministers for weeks and months, and also she's giving preferential treatment to other businesses and so forth. You also complain about about the IPDs and so forth. And you had a lot of complaint against the minister, and you sounded very frustrated. And so that's why I'm asking, because you say you work with other ministers in the past. You work with ministers that were there before the minister, and these problems really didn't exist at the time. All these when you work with these ministers. So my question was geared towards asking you, because if you work with someone you don't have confidence, you can't keep on. It's just like you'll be frustrated all the time. That's why I'm asking now, based on all of the complaints you made in your press during the press briefing. As I listened to it, that's why we're asking. So it appears that at this point, the relationship between the custom brokers and the Minister of Commerce seems to be on the wrong side.
So it's true that the custom brokers will always be there. We're there, Miata Beslo were there, Asa Ade were there, Steve Marvey, Mr. Tape. I mean, we've been there for long. And we keep remembering of the relationship we have with past minister and current minister. And then on a personal note, Minister Diggs is somebody who I used to talk to. I call, she take my call. But it been a while. More than 4 months. I've been making, as the president of Custom Brokers Association, especially anything related to trade. There's no way that I can go to somebody's office asking them for handouts. It's not possible. Every time I call to see, one of the stakeholders is something related to clearing, trade. And so sometimes it surprises me if you make an appointment with one of the public officials and you don't get the audience, then it made you draw back and say maybe this is not somebody who want to work with the Brokers Association. And in the past, like I said to you and many other government officials, sometimes it's not letter, sometimes it's just phone call. Oh, Mr. Minister, the brokers having the issue. Can we come? We discuss it. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, come over. But I've been making interventions to see the Honorable Minister of Mawani Diggs for more than 4 months now. And her special assistant knows that very well. I follow up with text message. I send her text message. I call. These are some of the issues that I wanted to express in the room, like what the brokers are thinking about you, what the business people complaints are. But I didn't get audience for 4 months. And when you check the WhatsApp message, you'll see the message. If the message is read, you know it's read. And so, like I said, we are not the one to say the minister is a good minister, but we are not beggars. Every time we go to anybody's office, it's about raising a red flag as to what we see to be a barrier to trade and what our recommendation is to improve it. So if we are denied audience, then I can agree with you. If I have been denied audience with the Minister of Commerce for more than 4 months now, then I can agree with you that the relationship is strained. Unless other people like the Commissioner General of the LRA, it's just a phone call or text message you get respond. If he's busy, he tell you not today, do it tomorrow. Those kind of relationship enhance the collaboration and make you to have a spot check on what the complaints are, what the challenges are, what the barriers are, so that we solve it together and continue to run trade. Because brokers are not politicians. We are business people. We've never been involved. In fact, there's no way we can go political because our reason for establishment is non-political, absolutely. So you can never find broker in any political thing. And that's why we are very careful with our words. And I mean, we're talking trade. So when we reach out, so you are right, Timothy. If I, as a president of the Broker Association, cannot meet the minister when I make the request, it means that there's a problem with the relationship with the Ministry of Commerce and the Custom Brokers Association.
Somebody, do you have another question?
Yeah. Okay. Your press conference also concerning the ship of the drugs and so forth. So what was the issue? What was the main problem you guys had problem that was you guys are raising about that ship? The ship entered, it came, and you guys weren't allowed to be part of the inspection of the ship or opening the ship, or what was the real issue you guys were raising and that the press conference was called for? Thank you.
Well, like I said, the press conference was not about the importation of drugs. It's the normal press conference. When you listen to the intro, it'll tell you, I think third quarter or fourth quarter press conference. We do this thing quarterly, and usually we pick out things that is trending, things that are happening to the brokers. What the brokers saying, and because a particular consignment or container left the port, we saw we saw the news on the we heard the news, we saw it on social media. And people are saying, or Bobzwani, citizen and a Lebanese citizen, like nobody told container. There's no way the Bobzwani guy could have told container and swim with it. That container come to the country either in somebody's name or in a business name. So we were concerned to find out if we saw the container number and were moved to make a little bit of research to see who imported the container in the first place. It's possible that somebody can post stuff in somebody's container. We are not saying that people who imported it, the security people will determine what happened. We're not saying that the people who imported the container are the people who put the drugs in it, but we wanted to know how it entered the country. And how it entered the country, it came through the free port of Moreover, It came in a container, that number we have. It had a bill of lading. It came with Max Line. It was imported by TRH. TRH is part of the Abijade group. And so we're just saying, our perspective of the little we knew. I know the security apparatus know more, but just a little we knew as custom broker, we're able to say out that these are the people that imported this container that are having the issue. And, so we're just saying our thought on the process that involved with the clearance of the container in comparison with the process that we know it to be. So,
Thank you
like I
very much,
indicated
Danny.
earlier. Okay.
Thank you very much. Let me just ask the last question because you've been very, very helpful with this discussion. Let me ask you the last question. Has this so on the Mawani D's sign on the input notification form? Is this something new for the ministry and for you guys? Tap it, Wilson tap it. You was the only one signing on the input notification form, or his deputy
No, that's
who
not
signed
correct.
on it likewise?
I've been around the brokers since 2002. Okay. And I've been in custom broker since 2005. Like I've been on a partnership. So I've been around for long. The signing of RPD, that obligation, that job is actually for the assistant minister of trade. Assistant minister of trade, they signs RPD. So, but then it came a time that there are sensitive commodities like rice, for example, like cement. Government wanted to have scrutiny and safeguard those people that bring it. Wanted to make sure that there's the means of proper signing. So those commodity was distinguished. So when you're having rice coming, you having cement coming, bulk commodity, you
So the
having whole
sign is
vessel
so when was
coming,
this? When they
then the
started
minister
this?
proper sign. Say that?
When it started on the topic?
No, on Manasselif. But all
On Madam
through
Sally.
Charles Taylor time, the
So it's not
minister
new.
signs
And
RPD,
Mawani
minister
Dix is signing on
see
it.
it.
It's not new.
So, but the issue with frozen food, is not bulk commodity. It's an ordinary commodity that anybody that the assistant minister of trade should be signing. But nobody's
But
on Manawani Deep. Nobody signs frozen food. Nobody signs frozen food. And so taking that portion of that job, she's the head of the ministry. She decides what to do, but it's actually the minister of foreign trade, the assistant minister of foreign trade, that signs RPD with a section of those bulk commodity. But with the frozen food thing, it has really been restricted by her in the past, in her immediate past. Or Tape, we used to have or Wisno deputy minister signing our RPDs in the minister's absence. But in her absence, nobody signs those specific commodities. Nobody signs until she returns from wherever she goes.
Does she have a stamp?
She signs with
actually
stamp,
signed,
yes.
or she signed with stamp?
She signs every RPG. She signs physically. So we can be having there are a lot of things like in the instant where maybe she traveled with the president for 2 weeks. All those commodities that she's supposed to sign is waiting, except the other little commodities like people bringing stuff from America or those other ordinary products, but frozen food, rice, and all the other things. Only the minister proper signs. So when she
James Kenny,
travel,
thank
you
you
get
very
a
much. You're the president of the broker. We hope we can have you again. Thank you very much for joining Spoon and explaining and helping us understand what you guys go through every day at the trading system, Freeport Commerce, and whatever. We want to say thank you, James. We appreciate you coming on the show tonight, sir. And have a good evening.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity, and we always look forward to this kind of chance to be able to say what we go through. There are a lot of things going on. If there's any need for my input, I'm open. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much, sir, and have a good evening. Thank you. Let me call you back real quick because we're on the show. Let me say this real quick, guys. It is important for us to understand something. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I want us to come back to the conversation that which is training. I said thanks to James. He been very, very gracious in speaking to the issue. The Minister Proper Mawani Diggs only signed on frozen food and special consignment, and everything have to wait for her. No matter the days, people will spend extra money just because it need her special approval. We're going to discuss that for some day, but let's talk about the drugs issue, guys. I want to hear you guys. What's going on with our country? Drugs worth $100 million. I know I heard from Mr. Jackson. We understand we are in the United States. This is a trouble for America, but the drugs issue getting very, very, very serious. Folks are saying maybe Liberia will be a narco state like Guinea-Bissau, and if we are not careful, how the drugs came in the country, it came under the TRH, uh, part of the Abijali group, and we need to explain that story to our folks and what is happening now. So Kev sent me some picture. Kev, you say those pictures are confirmed, right? Kev?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you're putting the picture up. Kev sent this picture. So this is some of the guys that brought in these guys. Kev, can you talk to us? You send this picture, so you talk to us.
Yeah, those guys were arrested at the border between the Sierra Leonean side of the border. As you can see, that's the Sierra Leonean police. You know, the guy in the middle, I think he's the Liberian. I think Oliver Zeze. Then you have Mustafa, the Guinean, with the black, with the Lebanese guy who is Ahmed Maki. So these are the guys who were arrested in connection with the drugs that we're talking about. So it looked like a joint security between the Sierra Leone side and the Liberian side.
Let me say something. We have the information. I think I put this in the chat room. They continue. Mr. Jackson came from Brazil, found his way through other country before getting to Liberia. This thing was tracked. But if you read the Daily Observer and you read front page newspaper, it's two different stories. Because folks are saying it was Abijale that called, and actually the story need to be verified. Somebody wanted to pay for the frozen food for a lot of money. And I think Musa Dean, Minister Dean, is fully aware of what's going on. He has taken charge on behalf of the Liberian government. Money in the amount of 200,000, they were proposed to pay for that container. 200,000 United States dollars, guys. Somebody from Royal Hotel came and said, listen, you got to continue at the port. We want to pay for the container. We got 200,000, and it shocked them. That's the story. Yet to be confirmed. It shocked them. Why are you pointing to this one container and say you want to give us 200,000 United States dollars? And the container is frozen food. That which we believe, because it's right here on the paper. It's right here. It said frozen food. If you look over here, it will tell you. All right. They're saying that. So why you want to give us 200,000 just for that container? So then when they paid them the visit, they decided to call. But yes, they took to the story. They didn't want to call the Liberian government or the United States Embassy. And the United States Embassy told them what to do till they have people on the ground and make the first arrest. Now, two things happening. Let's show you the clip when they were moving the drugs to burn the drugs. James, can you put it up? They were moving the drugs to burn the drugs. It's in, oh Lord, sorry, there's those dogs. Guys, please take it over. Let me go check on those dogs, please. But I need to explain the story. They were moving the drugs, and some of the drugs that you see, the guys, James, put it up, please. The guys were putting in the container. Two of the boxes, two of the stuff got missing. So the question is, where are the two? The money that the proposal that they had on them, $200,000 were turned over. But that which was reported was $157,000. This is deep. What happened with the rest of the money? Who took 2 boxes of the drugs? That's the question. Liberia need to hear this. Something just don't smell right. And the rest of the story, because of the importance of the story, we have to hold it. But we have the entire story. The container wasn't frozen food. It was all drugs worth hundred millions of dollars. Where are the 2 missing boxes of drugs? Who took some money out of the 200,000? Right now, we can say to folks, the Liberian government in their possession is only 147,000. Now, who first went on the scene? Who received the 200,000? Why it came down to 147,000? Something is not right, Mr. Jackson. I want to come back to you. I believe I sent this to you. If not, I will forward it to you, Mr. Jackson, because I think I put it in the chat room. So I want to hear from you, Mr. Jackson, the story about these drugs. You talk about the global issue when it comes to drugs. Let's talk about Liberia.
Look, Stanton.
Yes, sir.
One of the things I don't do, I don't speak about things that I don't have ample evidence on. So whatever I say here, I'll be speaking in generic. But one thing that I know is that our government, working in collaboration with the international system, the USDA, busted this container. They arrested some people and they burned the drugs. So that is a good indication of what our government has done for this. Now, as to whether some shenanigans is occurring with that, I don't have any evidence on that. But like I said, human frailty when it comes to money and drugs, anything is possible. So I wouldn't be surprised. But one thing that I'm clear about is that the national authority of the Republic of Liberia, the National Security Agency, the DA, and others, they've performed their task. They arrested this container. They burned the contents, and they will be prosecuting those who've been charged or who've been arrested. So that's what I'm very happy about. That's all I can say about this matter.
Do you think that this drugs issue would go away, or do you think the government needs to do more, Mr. Jackson?
Oh, the government absolutely needs to do more. Every government on the planet needs to do more. You need to do more about drugs in East LA, the opiate crisis in the United States of America, where you live in the state of New Jersey, in the state of Delaware, where you have your office. The opiate crisis is a crisis that has really consumed the United States. A significant percentage of the American population is addicted to opiates or even to prescription drugs. And you know you're in the medical field, Stanton, and you know that. It's a very serious problem. Here in Liberia, one of the issues we have and the problem we have is that in the post-war dispensation, we have not done, we did the disarmament, we did the demobilization, but in terms of the rehabilitation and reintegration, the psychosocial counseling that should have been done with that, and also they only had 2 or 3 days of psychosocial counseling in the DDR program, and a lot of the things that we have inherited because of the inaction and incompetence or lack of a national social welfare development strategy for the previous government is led to this serious drug problem in the country, and we don't have the resources. Remember, Stanton, people have $17 billion to build rehabilitation centers, okay, to ensure to do something about this whole drug mystery in this country. They did nothing. When I had money and I live in Liberia, and you can speak to Reverend Samuel Nunu, I fed 200 drug addicts every Sunday at my church in Blaba, a church that we built. It's a serious problem. I went to Buchanan the other day and I saw Zogos in the streets. Very, very troubling. And this is a national problem. So we need to do something about the demand. And then we need to improve our security system for Liberia, because Liberia has been used as a transshipment point for drugs to Europe and North America for a long, long period of time. So we need to build more internal capacity. But one thing that I'm very glad about is that on this particular container, I think the DEA and the NSA and other the security apparatus, they've done extremely well with that.
Can I come in, please? Thank you. And I want to say a couple of things here. The issue of transshipments of drugs, and I think it was rightly outlined. This is a serious problem. This is a problem that has permeated our society, and it's getting worse because obviously, if there is no consumer, there's not going to be there's not going to be a seller, right? And it's the same. It's almost the same situation that you find here when you talk about the narco state, whether from Colombia and all these cross-border thing that happens here. But I want to speak specifically on the issue of Liberia. One of the comfort level that I have is the U.S. is involved in this, and I remember clearly the last administration when I think it's what Sam Jackson was talking about when Fumba Selifu, who was then the national security director, was planted in as in collaboration with the U.S., where he served as kind of like a mole or something like that, and they were able to do a drug bust. I believe that this is something similar that we're seeing here, and it gives me comfort because $100 million. Now, I don't know if the drugs were meant for the Liberian market or whether it was supposed to be transiting to go somewhere else. But if that in itself is dangerous. The other issue that I think, again, like I said, my comfort level comes from the fact that the U.S. is on top of this thing. And when it comes to the issue of money laundering and drugs and stuff like that, it's not something the United States government takes for granted. So am I going to say here that people hands are not, maybe there's not people who are involved in this or whatever, but my message is that whoever is involved in it, I don't care who you are, you can rest assured that these things don't go in the back, right? The U.S. is on top of this thing, and from all of the things that I have seen and I've been reading, I believe the United States government and the intelligence is on top of this thing, and I think working in collaboration with our intelligence agency. Now, on the issue of, I think you asked a question about, I think two of the things are missing or something like that. From what I understand is that when they were, I guess the LDEA, the Liberia DEA, stated that they're keeping two of them to present them in court. I just got a text message from somebody at the LDEA who was saying that. So, I guess he overheard us asking that, so that we can take that as maybe that's the answer. But overall, Stanton, I want to say that I heard the custom broker guy talk about.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again? What did he say?
Well, the message says that the DEA say they're keeping two of the boxes to use as physical evidence in court.
So it was true. Two were taken out.
They say during the burning of the drugs, the DEA said that they were keeping two of the boxes of the drugs to use as physical evidence in court.
And that's very normal, Stanton.
Thank you. Hold on, Mr. Jackson. Hold on, Mr. Jackson. Chairman, thank you for confirming that.
Yeah. So let me just state. And the last thing I would say is we need to do a better job at our port. I think it's hard time that the Liberian government invests in what I think the gentleman was talking about, these scanning things. You go to any port in West Africa, these things are there. They just drive the trucks through this thing, and it can be a PPP. It can be a public-private partnership. The government maybe doesn't need to figure out. I think there's a way that they need to invest now in making sure. And I think and let our American partners pressure the government on this issue, because that will help. Because there is no way, Stanton, you will be able to bust anything by people cutting and the container opening and looking through it and stuff like that. So I just wanted to make that. To make that point.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you again for reading that text that was sent to you. Sintomone, you want to go in before we get to Kev?
Yeah. First of all, concerning these drugs, first of all, I would say this: there's no one tell me that it was an organized drug stuff shipment. It was well organized, and people are involved. But now, contrary to what I'm hearing my colleagues say, I'm getting a different information that The Americans know the two boxes where it is. They know where it went. They are aware of it. That's what I'm getting to. And the Americans are aware of the entire shipment. They are on top of it. And I just want to say that whoever the two packs where the possession they in, our U.S. partners are aware, and we are hearing that that it won't just that shipment they don't just came to Liberia by itself and nobody involved. People were involved, and the good thing that you said, Ben, our U.S. partners are aware about the entire process. They are aware about what's the whole deal is about. And one thing, no matter how long it takes, these people, when investigating, they will find out, and those who are involved will be exposed and brought to the public, because it's dangerous for our society. We're already facing the crisis with the people we call Zogos right now, and we're still bringing in more and more of these dangerous substances and so forth to affect our people, and thinking that the people are not aware. One thing the U.S. spend money on is this particular thing on the issue of tracking of these drugs, shipment of drugs. They spend money with development with countries that they're working with to ensure that the minute if you notice, as soon as they got their drugs, they came up with a statement to congratulate. Yes, they can congratulate you, but if you find out they can even congratulate you for tracking or arresting it. But if you are involved too, they will not. They will also come after you too. So the good thing is that they are aware and they have all the evidence they need to, and they're investigating it too, along with our authorities and on their own. So at the end of the day, we know one of these days soon we'll hear the facts surrounding this whole operation. A good thing. I'm happy about.
Jeff Hassan.
Well, it's a normal process when you do, kind of arrest a large amount of drugs, and you do have a person of interest. It's a common process, or you arrest somebody because you have to go to court. You cannot go to court without no evidence. So if you're taking people to court, it's a normal process. The Minister of Justice were on the scene where they were burning, and top government security official on the scene, and they work in concert with the Americans. So those things are well. So any other things people will say this person this under no one thing, but West Africa, I think it was couple of what 5-6 years ago, there was a whole plane were arrested in Sierra Leone, a whole plane with drugs. I don't know if Sam could remember, guys, a whole plane. You can Google it, you can see that. So it always happen in that region, especially a region that came from war. It always happened. So to want to put it in a sense that maybe this big person, that conspiracy theory that going on, the American and congratulated the Liberian intelligence, Liberian government. It was successful. It was burned. An arrest has been made. Those evidence that they got will appear in court, because you do have evidence to try somebody. It's common. It's normal. So that Ben, thank you for confirming that again. That you have a text that they do have it. It's for a court purpose. So it's not somebody like the Americans standing over you at the UN watching you and say, "Oh, why you carrying that thing?" No, they're on top of it. The Minister of Justice were right there over there branding it. High security food. It's a serious issue. That drugs is a serious issue all over the world. And $100 million drugs will not be for Liberia, because Zogo don't have money to spend. $100 million? No. Where's Zogo getting that money from? That drugs were not meant for Liberia. It's just a transit. They do that in all those countries that we are behind in security, because we fought war so long.
Are you trying to convince us or something?
No, I'm trying to tell you how it is because we have not
So we
only
don't know how is it. We don't know how is it.
not only in Liberia, because some of us sometimes spend our time in international news, so we have seen other country the same
But
situation.
the question, Kev,
It's a
listen,
serious issue.
Kev, listen. We know this is a serious issue, but
Mhm.
listen to this: the issue of how the drugs got in the country, why the company were given a special treatment. Why when the gentleman was on, he talked about the special treatment given to Abijali, the TRH input notification form that he never had. I mean, you should consider all this. Let me finish, Kev, please. You should consider all of these things. It's just not to come down at the American Press House. We did a good job, and everything is fine. That's not what we are saying. There's more questions need to be answered. There's more questions need to be answered.
Well,
Mawani Diggs signed on these things, and was she deceived? Did somebody lie to her? She had a notification form. She approved it. It's a frozen food. The documents are here, Kev. All the documents are here. She said frozen food. So, for God's sake, she approved something that Abijali lied to her. Liberians need to know. Liberians need to ask this question, and that's why we are asking it.
Let me answer you the question you asked. The reason why even Ben touched on it, and it's a good thing that we need a scanning machine, is to take out all these doubts that you're talking about, because 100 million with the American and intelligence into it, they will not be congratulating the government if somebody high in high places. What I'm saying is that that's a job to sign on a frozen food. But if you have like a scan, then yeah, you can scan on those things. But one thing we should know.
So will the government then go after Abijali?
The gentleman was
wasting our time back.
The government was complaining. What the government was doing, the gentleman was complaining. This, but may not be.
Who gentleman was complaining?
The James that were on the show, he was complaining, but it may
I'm
not
not
be
talking about James. I'm not talking about James. We're done with James. I'm asking you the question: why would Mawani D sign the input notification form? And can she admit that she was deceived by Abijali? I come in, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, 1 minute. You guys should have it. Mawani D's the input notification form can only be signed by Mawani D's. If you talk about rice, frozen food, cement, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
She said only she alone would be able to sign it. She took her stamp with her. 2 weeks with the president outside the country, she took her stamp. Everything will be put on pause.
But the question is,
let me finish. Let me make you understand that. She signed it.
Mm-hmm.
She signed the consignment. It came in the country. Did Abijali lie to her? Those guys that have TRH trading, did they lie to her? Liberia need to get some clarification as to why you have 100 million drugs, worth of drugs in the shit.
But everything, everything
you say. Ben, can I come in 1 second? I need to state something, and I want us to be extremely careful, Stanton. The reason I'm saying this is for me, this is not chicle. This is not. And I'm very concerned because obviously Mawani, if she signed on her IPD or whatever they call it, permit, whatever they change,
input notification form.
If she signed something that said it have frozen food, and then obviously it turned out to be drugs, I believe that is a part of the investigation because
thank you very much. That's where I'm going.
Yeah,
would the government go after Abijali and the TRH group?
Well, definitely. Listen, this is what I believe, and again, I lean back on my American friends because this is not. I don't think Liberia has the capacity. I don't think we even got the capacity to investigate something of this magnitude. So I do believe the U.S. is fully involved in this thing, and I think they will trace this thing back to The
Ben,
origin.
I must tell you something. I must
No.
tell you something. Let me say this to you. If you read the front page newspaper and people we spoke to, it will amaze you that Abijadi probably the one that called the United States Embassy when the gentleman was standing there with $200,000 in his briefcase. It will amaze you. Let me say this to you.
So if he was the one who called, then
so the question remains to understand that Abijadi group, right? The Abijadi group get the triple F, frozen food, something, and they have the TRH. They're all part of the Abijadi group. So Liberians, those that are responsible on our side and not the American side, should better explain. The lack of communication and explanation make us to ask more questions. My warning these she have not spoken on this issue, but she signed the input notification form. Again, she's not speaking.
It may be of good riddance. It may be of good riddance. If I even were her at this point in time, maybe of good riddance that she doesn't even talk on this. Because guess what? Whatever you say at this point, listen, like I said, I'm trying to be very careful here.
Chairman, I think you're wrong, Chairman. I think you're wrong because Mawani D's, it will help her when she speak. The same thing, we're about to go back to this race issue, but let's stick it for a minute. Liberians are thinking how $100 million drugs came in the country.
Okay.
Why? If it wasn't for the United States government through her embassy putting out a statement, the DEA came with a press conference from the Commerce Ministry side. She should then speak, but you say it will be in her best interest.
Yeah, this is over the Congress.
Let her one at a time.
Let's have a substantive conversation, Kev, please. Stanton, let me tell you why I read the U.S. statement. Obviously, the U.S. and the Liberian government are collaborating here, given there's always been strong collaboration between the National Security Agency of the Republic of Liberia and the U.S. And I'm talking about the whole government per se. I'm talking about these agencies, the LDEA. There are reasons why the Americans fund these specific agencies of our government because but let me land, please. Because they are a part of an ecosystem that has to do with U.S. interests, U.S. national interests. The reason I'm saying the issue with Mawani is, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, yeah, so. What I'm saying is, I believe that wherever
the investigation,
obviously, because there is a whole investigation going on, and wherever I am confident that this thing will lead to the origin, to where it's
coming. We know that, Ben. Hell yeah, because you find the U.S. embassy. Let me go to Mr. Jackson. But what you're saying, Ben, you're right. We got a U.S. embassy investigating. We know the truth will be told. But my wanting this, yes, the issue. She did not approve the form, but these guys then brought in. They brought it in. She's the only person that's also approved it, though. But she didn't, and the guys then brought in consignment. So it's from one question to another. And we would sit back and wait for the United States to complete their investigation.
That is there. And I hate to seem like I'm defending the Ministry of Commerce here. If that is the process where if the minister takes a stamp and put it in her bag and travel with it, that is a flawed policy that needs to be revisited.
That's what Jim said, Ben.
But
it's crazy.
But I am also trying to say here, I'm stopping shy of trying to make it appear like she probably stamped on a document and she knew that drugs were coming into the country. That's where I'm stopping.
Thank you, man. Let's go to Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson.
Look, guys. If you've been involved in international trade, you would know that there's a lot of falsification of goods, whether the contraband or just normal goods coming to the country, where people undervalue the goods, they misclassify the goods, they do all of that on a routine basis. You can't fault a minister of commerce with 1.2 billion worth of commodities coming to this country every single year, and she doesn't have the ability, and there's no capacity in any African country to do that. Now, you said we needed to have the scanner. Yes, we need to have the scanner, but I don't want this conversation to deteriorate into personal culpability or liability.
No, we are not saying that.
Right.
Mr. Jackson, I don't think we are saying that. I think what we are saying, Mr. Jackson, no, Mr. Jackson, what we are saying is the Liberian people are going to ask more questions. When the minister failed to speak, Justice Minister, Commerce Minister, whatever, those ministries that are regulating these things, when they fail to speak, guess what happened? People ask questions. So when speculations out there,
it's not a fair question.
Excuse me?
It's not a fair question. It's not a fair question. Let me tell you why it's not a fair question. For anyone to think that Mawani Dix will knowingly sign an import declaration or whatever the declaration that contains cocaine to come into the Republic of Liberia.
No, Mr. Jackson, you're kidding me. Nobody's saying that she knowingly signed it. Don't play that game. No, don't play that game. Nobody's saying that she went in this sign. No, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson again, I would say you are in error because nobody's saying she knew that cocaine was on the ship and she signed it. You are in error. That's not what we are saying. The gentleman, James Henry, came on the show. The input notification form can only be signed by Mawani Dix. So if for any reason, hold on 1 minute, sir. If for any reason,
let me tell you why that's not true.
No, I won't believe you. I will not believe you because Mr. Henry is the president. Mr. Henry is the president. Mr. Henry is the president for the Brokerage Association. Yes, so what he says matter than what you will say on this.
Hold on a second, Stanto. They got perishable items that come into the country. It is not practical for Mawani Dix, who travels on a regular basis out of the country. When
so
she goes,
you said James is lying.
That's what Sam is saying. Sam is
we sharing the truth because there has to be an acting minister of commerce where the authority is transferred to that person. So
but he said it. But Mr. Jackson, I think you playing a double standard game here. No, James Henry was on the show. James Henry was on the show. I asked you to ask him a question. You refuse.
No,
you make a statement. No, give me a chance now. Give me a chance. Give me a chance, Mr. Jackson. You got to stop this. You make a statement and you turn to him and say, I don't have a question for you. But what he said, the deputy should be the one signing. No. He said the assistant should be the one signing, but the assistant never signed because Mawani Dix must sign on all the input notification form. We are not putting this on we are not putting this on Mawani Dix, but we are asking the question, which is so fair. Mr. Johnson, stop playing game, man. We can hear better.
No, that's not what he said. Let me tell you what he said. What I understood is to him say, the assistant minister for trade signs either the IPDs or the input notification routinely. But for certain essential commodities or something that the minister believes that she's trying to protect infant industry or for whatever other strategic reason, then she signs that. That has been routine for dozens and dozens of years. Now, for Jim to say that Mawani Dix, the woman that I know, to carry the stamp in her bag when she travels to New York to the UNGA, I just don't buy that.
He said it, right? He said
it, but I don't buy that.
Thank you very much. That's your opinion.
It is clear that he and Mawani, they are custom brokers. Look, there's always competing business interests in this country. Okay?
But again, the lack of the minister not speaking, that's where I'm going to go at. But Ben said maybe because of the investigation, so many folks will fly with that is because of the investigation. So maybe she doesn't want to speak. But you get the Justice Ministry, the Commerce Ministry, the United States Embassy, the DEA, everybody running with this story. Like what Kev just said on the show. He brought a picture. He displayed the picture. He said, those Kev. You brought a picture and said those are the guys that were arrested, correct?
Let's also be cognizant that we can't investigate it in the media, right? So there's going to be a lot of scanty information running around.
No, we cannot investigate, but we hope that Justice Minister can speak to the nation.
And let me agree with you on something. I do believe that the Attorney General, who is the Justice Minister, should provide some updates on because of the importance of it. Right?
What happened with this government that they don't want to speak? They will be quiet.
There's a problem with the administration. They used to use the PRs. I mean,
then when you ask a question and they say don't speak,
we'll speculate. That's a problem I got.
Why should the American be the one to give us the final press statement? What happened with Musa Dean? We had investigation. We're speaking due time, and they will not speak.
But let me.
The security force do it. They have.
I'm not talking to you on this show for the rest of the show.
Let me.
I'm not talking to you on this show for the rest of the show.
Let me come in though. I think the issue with drugs in West Africa. I was fortunate to watch a show last night with National Geographic. They had a documentary on Brazil and how many planes go into Brazil and how the planes that go in there, that millions of people that fly in there, they are used as a hub to transport drugs to other parts of Africa, in different parts of Africa, and then from there to other parts of Europe and America, stuff like that. But I think we need to also consider Liberia being a nation that is fragile in terms of security. They don't have the means of controlling drugs when it goes in that country. We don't have the means. We saw the Russians that were arrested when President Salih was president at the time, when former Ben alluded. Liberia really do not have the means. I think what should have happened was I want us to be very careful how we move forward. Before we implicate people. Like the minister Mawani Dix. I think Mawani should have come and talk about the rights issue, why and what is going on, what is happening on the rights issue. But when it comes to that issue with the drugs, I think investigation is going on. I think we should leave that with the American government, but the government.
So let me ask you a question. You want us to leave that with the American government front page?
No, we should be right.
No. Hold on, Dr. Peabody. Right. Front page ran with the story. Other print media outlet ran with the story. Then now because we online, we should leave it with the government. We have right to ask questions.
We have right. That's
exactly. We are not implicating anyone.
That's true.
We are asking fair question. It may not be to Mr. Jackson likeness, right, but we are asking question because we need to ask question. We speak for the Liberian people. But guys, let me say this. Let's talk about the rest issue. And I think that's why I brought Ben back on the show today. For the past 7 days, he's been off. Let's talk about the rest issue.
I've been off where you got 7 days. Anyway, talk about your thing. You don't even want to side with me. So let's go ahead.
Ben been running away from the rest.
Why is there a delay? You seem to be happy when I say something. You can wait for 30 seconds.
I want to hear what you say. I want to
okay. I thought it was a delay. That's all.
You're the chairman, but your name is not on the comments list. But let's talk about the rest issue.
You want to talk about your rest issue or you want to talk about me? Do I know that? First of all, let me say you know you can throw this. You know you can throw this in, and you know me, I get arrested. Now you throw it, I get arrested. First of all, let me stay for the record. I've been national chairman of a political party.
Chairman, we ain't going to
they don't put my name on list
anymore. Let's talk about the rest issue.
Yeah, they don't put my name on list
anymore. Chairman, Mr. Jackson said on the show, Gentleman and George, that to Peabody, and I just asked Mr. Honorable Samuel Koga to join us for in the next 5 minutes he will be on. Mr. Jackson said just this morning, Samuel told him that I just gave $4 million to Commerce Ministry.
He said who?
Samuel told him that.
Samuel told him?
Mr. Jackson said it. Yeah.
Well, where are you going? Let me come back.
That's why I want him to come back. And the folks listened to him when he was saying it. You remember when we were on the program, Mawani Dix wrote a statement, a press statement. Sentumani George, you read the statement, right? 14 million, she said, was given to the importers. But if Samuel Twe can tell Mr. Jackson that Mr. Jackson telling us, Samuel Twe said, I just sent $4 million to Commerce Ministry, that's a lot of Liberians confused. We are confused like hell.
Mr. Jackson, can you clarify where the 4 million came from? Where do it?
Because we got the paper here, you know, and I wanted to read from my paper that I have, Chairman.
I thought it was 7.5 million.
Don't say nothing. We're talking about today's conversation with Mr. Jackson. Go ahead, Mr. Jackson. You have the floor.
Whatever you're talking about, the math not adding up, could be a legitimate issue. Okay? But what I said and what I was very clear about is that the rice crisis appears to be subsiding. And that's the truth. And you don't want to accept that, it's up to you, but that is the fact. The rice issue is subsiding. The ship that has been there for 35 to 40 days, who's been interrupted intermittently by rain, is delivering, which is a stopgap measure until a ship can come up with a larger quantity, like 22,000 metric tons, early next week. That is the truth. And the other truth is that Minister Twe said he's paid substantial amounts of money to the Ministry of Commerce as part of the subsidy, including $4 million a day or two ago. That is a fact. Now, if you have contrary
can I hold you right there? Mr. Jackson, I hold you right there. Mr. Jackson, I hold you right there. I think you answer our question, you clarify. And listen, Mr. Jackson, it's the reason why you came on the show today, and we respect you. We can laugh and joke, but we do respect you. All right. It's hard sometimes for you to tell the bull-faced lie. So what you said, I heard that information this morning, and I was shocked. I was shocked, guys, because while with Samuel Twe today, he says that, all right, $4 million went to Commerce Ministry. After Commerce Ministry told us that they have given the rest importer $14 million. So let's do the round table. I beg you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, let's do the round table. Yes, 2 minutes, George.
Yes, Mr. Jackson. I mean, I don't know whether he and Minister Twe conversation was private or for the public. I don't know, but it's up to him to explain to us.
Because I'm repeating it, and I call him as a concerned citizen. I call him as a concerned citizen because you and I and others have been talking about the fact that people may have been playing in that money, and that was a general rumor mill, right? So me, Samuel Jackson, the courageous old man, said, let me ask the chief fiscal officer of the country whether these rumors are true. And he said, hell no, we didn't play into this money. As a matter of fact, I think we paid $14 million, and I just yesterday or the day before, the $14 million. And I went to and I called Mawani. I said, Mawani, I have to see you urgently because the rice prices poses an existential threat to the re-election chances of President Weah. And since I am a passionate supporter of the president, I would like to know, and I'm demanding as a friend of yours, and she said, come and see me when I come from the field. And when I went to the field, I saw how they come from the field. I saw the inspectorate.
And what did she say when you saw her?
I asked her what was going on with her. She said, Sam, that's not true. We paid the subsidies as we're supposed to pay the subsidy. And I believe her. But I didn't have a math. I didn't have a ledger to ask her specific questions.
Did you ask her about the $4 million that Samuel Twe said he sent to her?
I said, look, listen to me. I didn't go there as a journalist. I didn't go there as an accountant. I went there as a friend of the government. And I asked general questions. You are a journalist. You can scrutinize what she said.
I'm not a journalist, sir.
But I don't take ledgers to my friends and start to
earlier
go and
you said that she said no. Earlier when I asked you,
true. We pay the subsidies. Not 1 cent of their subsidy has been touched by anyone, and I believe her. So
thank you, Mr. Jackson.
That's what.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jackson. So, Sintumani George.
Yeah.
Sintumani George, listen to this now. So, 14 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, thank you very much. We'll come back to you. Sintumani George, listen to this, right? 14 million few days ago, 4 million. So, are we saying now it's $80 million?
I mean, you know, I don't know what we'll call these fuzzy math, because these numbers, the figures are all over the place. But for me, if I had an opportunity to talk to Minister Mawani Dees, I'll tell him, look, come before the camera, talk to the Liberian people, hold a press conference, clear the air, what's going on, so that people would not be speculating. And I repeat again, you have 300 and some more days to the election, and you play with a commodity, an issue that Liberian people are the nerve center of the Liberian population. The rest issue, you don't want to. If you really want to be re-elected, you don't want to have this issue being just over the place. You want to come before the public, the press, and address the issue. If telling say, look, the government decided to subsidize the importation of rice so that to keep the prices down for the consumers, and explain why. Get a breakdown to the people why government decided to do it and what the government has done thus far. But to just keep the people in limbo and so forth, even if you defend the government, it puts you in a situation where you complete a loss because nobody's speaking.
So, Judge, then it's 80 million we're talking about, though. Then let's talk about the money.
I heard for 11 million was
we have, on the paper, on the price statement, it said 14. Senator just say he gave another 4, so that's 18. Senator make a phone call from America and gave another 4, then that's 18. What's going on, man? Mr. Jackson, let other people talk. We'll come back to you, Chairman.
Can I come in?
Mr. Jackson, we'll come back to you. Mr. Jackson will get back to you.
First of all, if the rice from I saw Sam Jackson's post, so if the rice crisis is subsidizing, if it's subsiding, not subsidizing, what am I talking about? If it's subsiding and it's coming under control, we thank God, because I think the people of Liberia deserves a break. They deserve a break. Our mothers, our fathers.
That's a lie. It's not coming down, Ben.
Talking.
That's a lie. That's a lie. That's not true.
Can I talk?
No, you cannot talk, Ben. That's a lie.
You can't say I cannot talk because
that's not true.
First of all, let me state here. I used the word. I said if the rice crisis is coming down.
Oh, you said if. So go ahead now.
No, but don't try to. First of all, we all not going to have the same opinion on the show, so don't do that.
I don't want us to. I don't want us to.
But then you interrupted me, so let me finish.
I'm not the only one I can interrupt. Kev can interrupt you.
Let me finish my thought. So let me just finish my thought. Again, let me state here.
But I think some guys are playing game with this. That's not game. The Liberian people listen. We shouldn't play game with this.
I don't believe we're out of the woods yet. I believe there is still a crisis. But again, like I said, depending on what Mr. Jackson just said, I am praying to God that this thing comes to an end. Because our mothers, our fathers don't deserve, our kids, our cousins, they don't deserve what they've been going through over the last couple of days. Now, this government have done a horrible job in communicating to the people. Horrible. I mean, just the fact that everybody is just speculating in itself, they've done a horrible job. Because information is power. Information is power. I always like to use the analogy on this show of oil prices. Whenever they say there is a war in an oil-producing country and there is a threat of oil going up, you will either see OPEC meeting, or you will see the U.S. press secretary to the president stating, or you will hear them saying something to kind of calm the nerves of the market and the people down. So I think they have done a horrible job when it comes to information dissemination. Now, where are we? Is there a ship that's coming? I pray this ship coming. Is there a ship at the port? Heck, y'all get tarpaulins and y'all figure a way and take the rice in the ship if there y'all got one there, because there's an excuse of rain and there's a rain and rain and rain, and the reason we can't take the ship, that excuse is outdated also. But let me state this. On the issue of the money, of the different numbers, yes, there's been numbers thrown all over the place. That's why we said consistently there have to be some kind of investigation in this thing. There have to be some kind of accountability, some kind of explanation so that the people of Liberia can know what happened here. First of all, the president of Liberia needs to commission an investigation into this, figuring out why did we even get to this place. So that's all I want to say. But I pray to God, Sam Jackson, I pray that you are right, that within a couple of days, this thing can be done with. Because
a couple of days, Ben.
No. Those are my words. Those are my words. That's why I say I pray that in a couple of days, it could be in a week. But Mr. Jackson, 24 hours is too long, in fact, because the poor people of Liberia, those people that you were interviewing, don't deserve this. And I think governments are instituted to seek the welfare and well-being of the people. And I think on this one, they dropped the ball.
Okay. So let me say this to you. Let me say this before Peabody. Let me read this. Then we'll go to you and Kev Hassan, Minister, Mr. Jackson, Samuel Jackson's second paragraph. I just want to read it for you to understand. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry should be applauded for the timely intervention. What the hell? Mr. Jackson just he's not right sometimes. Timely intervention and there is no ship at the port. Timely intervention and the people still crying. Then Mr. Jackson must say we should applaud the Commerce Ministry. Is this a joke?
Well,
what I can say.
What are we applauding them for?
What
Mr. Jackson must sit there to sweet talk the government and say applaud the Commerce Ministry. Go ahead.
What I can say, I will pray that they do their best to bring rice in the country and that the rice situation subside. But let me say this, people may hate him or like him. I'm gonna say anything. One person that I know, if he was going through this crisis, he will come up and speak to the public and will defend it to the last, will be Samuel Twell. Whether he's right or wrong, Samuel Twell will appear before the press and will do everything to justify.
But why is he?
But yeah, is it?
But why is he?
Well, I just given an example.
How will you say that about Samuel Twell?
No.
If you say in America, you just spoke to Samuel Jackson.
I don't know about that.
How will you say that about Samuel Twell? Is Samuel Twell part of the problem?
We're not
but
going.
He's part of the problem.
Did you make a mistake? You're not giving me a chance. You're not giving me a chance.
There's a reason why we are
calling his name. I do not believe that he meant Samuel Twell. He meant somebody else. That's a slip of tongue. Pastor Peabody, Pastor Peabody, you are under the utterance of the Holy Spirit. Did you make a mistake by calling his name?
Except you're having a church here, then you're the pastor and trying to tell me about Holy Spirit or something like that.
We got interrupted a minute. I talk. Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that
you say you met somebody else. Who has it?
People want to see the leader. She should have come up and addressed the press on that. Even if you don't take questions, address the press. But what I would say here is this rights issue is a very complicated issue. What I would do is I would pray that the government work hard to bring the rights in the country. And I thank the Liberian people for not getting out there, because when the hungry men get out there and demonstrate, it will be hell on fire. So I thank the Liberian people for not getting out there. But I pray that the government will do its best to bring the rights, because it's taking some time.
The Liberian president had nothing you say. They don't understand you. You just blah, 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 blah. Samuel Twell. How will you praise Samuel Twell?
Well, I give a scenario.
Mr. Jackson praising Commerce Minister. I
gave a scenario. It was a scenario.
Jackson, I disagree with you on that. We must congratulate.
I disagree with Mr. Jackson. And I hope Mr. Jackson, when you did, I hope she transfer you.
I would not agree with that. I would not agree with that.
I hope she transfer you, Mr. Jackson, because that's some fake information you put out there. Kev Hassan? Kefiko, are you with us?
He frozen.
Kev Hassan said he's not part of the show because it's a rest story. He have no intention of discussing this. But I would say, I think, again, let me say to everybody, Mawani Diggs, I think she's not doing well. I think Mawani Diggs just again and again, she have become a failure to the Liberian people, serving as a commerce minister. I think that's misplacement of the job that the president assigned her to do. Mawani Diggs, if you go back in history, and we'll open the phone line, we all understand that Mawani Diggs, prior to her appointment as the Minister of Commerce and Industry, this woman, she did extremely well in Michigan. She had a US $15 million budget. She answered to the United States people with 750 employees under her belt. She supervised and took care of 24,000 students. Commerce is not her place. Commerce is not Mawani Diggs' place. If you read about Mawani Diggs, and some of you guys that know her, commerce is not Mawani Diggs' place. And I think that sometimes the president, these are some of the mistakes he always made. He put her to commerce, and we're in this serious situation. You can say that I'm mad at Mawani Diggs. I'm mad because she's not speaking. But can any Liberian tell us on the show that Mawani Diggs alone in that thing? She's not alone.
And what in
this whole rest thing, that the money, the money, the number is not adding up. Importers are mad because they are not getting the money. Founders say they're giving the money to Mawani Diggs. You think Mawani Diggs don't want to speak?
But I think can I just say something to you quickly, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You finish, sir. You're coming, sir. So I think somebody's maybe on her jackal vein and allowing her to take the whipping, because this is wrong. And every one of you guys that promising Tuesday or Monday that ship will be at the port, we have called on Liberians to remain calm. So Jackson, you will not support protests, Mr. Jackson. Nobody on this set will support protests. We are asking Liberians to remain calm.
Okay.
Today is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. Saturday, Sunday. I would pray to God that Monday, Tuesday, that miracle should arrive. That's all I just want to say.
Amen. Yes. Amen, Brother Stanton. Amen.
No, I pray to God that it arrive, because
we all pray for that rise to come. We all pray.
Yeah.
Stanton, can I respond to you, please? Santa, as a young man, okay, as a young man, I fought for multi-party democracy in a Republican form of government, where the people who represent us are the people in the national legislature. They have oversight. And if these, excuse my language, buggers, in the midst of a national emergency arrest crisis, are taking agriculture breaks and going to fancy countries and not calling for an emergency session to make people accountable, and you're going to blame a young lady, a professional young lady who's doing extremely well, because there has been, since she's been there's been no crisis, hardly, since she's been minister, to come and then to throw her under the bus because there are glitches in the supply chain for rice distribution in the country, and you want to throw this young lady under the bus, and the people who made the appropriation stand up at the national legislature, they should know how much was appropriated, and they should be demanding through the budget performance report how much was paid. You will never know sitting down there in Wilmington, Delaware, whether in fact the money that was appropriated was paid. You are not paid for that. You were just a nationalist, a loyal citizen. So let them come and tell them how much they appropriated and make a demand to the government, to the fiscal officer, how much they was sent out, so they can do that. But all of what you're doing, Stanton, is speculation. And you had a poll last night. why you were excoriating this young lady. Yes or no, should she go? I thought that was unfair, Stanton. That's what I really
You know what is
believe.
unfair, Mr. Jackson? This is Mr. Jackson. This is what is so unfair. That you in our studio and you're lying on her behalf. This is what's so unfair,
I'm
Mr.
lying?
Jackson. Hold on now, let me finish. You're done. Yeah, I will give you the chance to come back because you're my part. Then what is so unfair is that you sit on the show and you're telling us to applaud Mawani Diggs. For what? That is so unfair. You have no interest the well-being of the Liberian people. Mothers going to bed hungry, children starving, and you telling us we must clap for Mawani Diggs and the Commerce Ministry. You, Mr. Jackson, telling us we should celebrate and say, hail the king or hail the queen, Mawani Diggs. Because you met her today, she tells you fairy tales. You know how many Liberians out there suffering right now? From one promise to another? And you went on social media to write a story and say, yes, let's celebrate Mawani Diggs. Let's applaud her. You're the man of wisdom and understanding. You did economics. That's what you do for a living. But on this one, Uncle Sam, you are dead wrong. You are dead wrong.
And that's your opinion.
And that's
your
not right.
Opinion.
You should have pushed
That's your
Mawani
opinion.
Diggs. Her statement was in error.
How do you know I didn't push Mawani Diggs? How do you
Mr.
know?
Jackson, Mr. Jackson, you sat on the
renting
show.
and raving.
You want us to celebrate Mawani Diggs. Where is the Liberian people 14 million? You said Samuel said he gave additional 4 million. Where is the Liberian people 18 million? The total will be 18. You said Mawani Diggs doing extremely well. Where is the rice? Where is the rice? Where is the shit? Importers crying.
Have the
Mr.
performance
Jackson,
report.
Mr. Jackson, you know who not giving the performance report? You not giving the performance report. Samuel Tua not giving the performance report. Just because,
looking at. Where is
Mr. Jackson, you are in error.
So
you are in error, Mr. Jackson. You want us to celebrate Mawani Diggs because you visited her today and she bought you fuel, she bought you gasoline, and she sent you for lunch. You want us to celebrate her?
Come on, man.
You want us to celebrate her? That's error. Don't do this, man. You know how many Liberians are dying on the street now? You know how many Liberians want to best on starvation? You're saying that we should celebrate her? Don't do that, man. You're my pop, but I will try to tell you a little bit. I will try to tell you a little bit. We cannot celebrate her. She has failed the Liberian people.
Was out there while you were in your cushy Delaware office. While you were
while I was in my cushy Delaware office, must I remind you? Must I remind you? No, it wasn't a Delaware office. No. It wasn't a Delaware office. While I was in my New Jersey office, Mr. Jackson, I was making food available for 100 plus Liberians. While I was in my New Jersey office, I was spending money to buy bag of rice to give it to needed Liberians that cannot afford it. While I was in my Delaware office, Mr. Jackson, I wasn't lying to the Liberian people on social media. I was fighting for their cause. While I was in my office in Delaware, Mr. Jackson, I was understanding the system that brought us this far to help our fellow Liberians and not to lie to them for a little pocket change. That's who I am. I changes that. And let's move on, sir. Kev Hassan.
Yeah, you know, we're talking about this money issue. Nothing from the importers that are out there shows that they did not receive the money. Rice coming in, it will be fair enough for additional money to be spent to the importers because rice will be in the country in days. You know what the Commerce Ministry put out about the amount is same and accurate because it's in the budget. Let lawmaker come and dispute that. Let it come and dispute that. But no lawmaker would dispute that. So it's out there. So I don't see any money issue in this whole situation, because until the importers come out and issue a statement that won't get money, I think we should even be talking about this money, like the money is gone this direction, went to this direction. I think it's something that we're blowing stuff out there. But let the Liberian people know that the government is trying, and they're working on the rights to be in the country in days. I want people to know that we had COVID, we had lockdown. The government provided food, rice were in the country. People went and buy rice. Government workers took pay and they were sitting home. So now the government will not produce rice. And Ellen said that today on the show. She said we had a rice issue in her time too. She spoke about it. She said we too had a rice issue. What she said, well, we'll call the importers them. We talk to them.
Yeah, Hassan, stop this part of story. The government fail on this one, man. The government should admit that they just fail on this one, Kev. Don't give us no spiral story about that. The government fail on this one. They need to get it right. The people are tired waiting, and you gotta be very fast. The one coming, Kev's telling all this slow story to pause. Rice not supposed to be in the country in days. Rice should be in the country like yesterday. Last week, not in days. The government failed the people.
Rice all over the country.
All over where?
All over.
Where?
All because maybe
don't let something strike you.
Putting it up. Other news outlets are putting it up.
Rice all over where?
All over in
please send somebody there. Send somebody there. Where?
It's
where,
all over.
Where all over? Just stop that.
The arrested truck.
Please come in, man.
All over. Going out.
Chairman, come in. Kev, you and Sam Jackson need to stop this.
So let me say this.
Do you want us
to stop it? We will go to the phone line. You say rice all over. We ask the Liberian people in Liberia tonight.
The arrested.
Where is the rice?
In a dispute that the truck full of rice.
It's a lie. Just stop lying to the Liberian people.
The other station are covering the CEO.
Other station lie to the Liberian people.
No, they show a live video.
Let me say something.
That's true.
Kev, let me say this. You mentioned that Ellen said, yeah, right. Yeah, she did say that, but she also, but the difference between what's happening now is how the crisis was managed. When Ellen during the Ellen years, when the rice crisis happened, people were informed. The Ministry of Information was talking. The press secretary to the president was talking. The president herself was speaking. And she said it today.
We go
let me finish.
But Ben is right. Kev, Ben is right. People got to talk.
Kev, you are not there when they were in Liberia.
That's all you want to hear.
Yeah, I was
right. You got to talk.
When you got into politics, when you got into politics,
you behaving like you supposed to remember the government. How you behaving?
I beg you, give me 1 second of your time, Chairman. Kev Hassan, you only got into politics when Spoon brought you in. You were watching football. You were saying politics.
I was
don't do that. Don't do that, Kev.
That's a low blow, man.
This is getting embarrassing. You only got into politics.
All right, see you.
Come on.
Now one day, my man, let me get my low blow smoke. Now one day, you ever say the truth.
I want to end on what I was saying, right? And Kev, this is not, and let me say this, Kev.
We going
to the government of Liberia. This is not going to be.
No, better laugh on this man.
No, man.
Yeah, then picking your beamer. I'm not saying you want to Ministerial government like Ministerial government.
No,
we get into politics last year, January, during COVID time.
Student politics, LeBron, nowhere. Student politics, LeBron, student politics.
And my point is, this is not going to be.
I've been speaking before spoon. I've been speaking before spoon. Before spoon.
Get where so? Get where?
Guys, this is not going to be the life. This is not going to be the life.
I used to appear on the Gilbert
show.
Show.
Wait, let me talk.
Gilbert Show, Gilbert Show.
Yeah, man.
Yes, it's
national politics. Student politics in abroad prior to everything, at least.
But I would say this.
To our people.
But I would say this. This is not going to be the last crisis this government is going to face. But I will also state, you see, when Ebola hit, the response of the Ellen administration was so dismal. People called for Ellen to resign. Many people, and how I remember, it was 2014. We were all there. I was running for the Senate. The early response, you remember when they even shot that little boy in West Point? Shaki, that what the boy named, when the government tried to quarantine West Point, and the armed forces shot the little boy in his leg. My point to you, Kev, is through every tragedy, you can find an opportunity. Moving forward, this government has to figure out a way how to manage, to deal with crisis management. And for me, that is the core of this thing has to do with information dissemination. All of the speculation that you see out here today is because the government did not provide the information that it needed to provide to the country. And so it left room for a lot of speculation. And when speculation is rife, it becomes reality. And so for me, again, like I said, I will reiterate what I said. I know we're coming to go to the phone line. That let's figure out a way to solve. Once the problem can be solved, when the people eating the rest, we can debate the inconsistency in the money. We can debate all the other things. But until we have.
Next time, I'm not going to read anything Timothy sent me. I didn't look at it, I just read it. Timothy said, Kev came into politics just at the time of the COVID. And he's doing this. Timothy, you bad man. That's not right.
I'm not even worried. You see, Timothy said that. When I throw my own a bomb, hey, Kev, don't say it. But you're saying it. I'm not worried. Me, I like it. Because me, I can shoot.
Yeah, he's a common politician. He's a common politician.
I care. Me, I don't want you to call behind my man. What you say? My man, what you say would be in trouble. My man, what you say? Man.
There should be no low blow on the show, man. Just stop.
No. Too many about man.
Kev, got it from your mom, right? Kev, you low blow care about it.
Man, for me, I like when people hate me because I hit people back. I don't care. That's part of it.
So you when you hit the CEO back, you hit CEO
not
back.
Me, the message to money.
No, you all hit it, man. I'm big here.
But why you tell your drummer on the wrong person? The man who said it, you get
but can't better than me. You know I won't do. You know I will not take personal.
Okay.
No, but I can't speak.
I come after him. It's normal. We don't agree all the time on politics. You know.
So
I don't agree all the time.
Still not, but I dare you now. Still don't blow your low blow. Why can't respond now? I dare you.
Don't go that low, man.
No, but don't tell me what that is, Kev. You know, I hit you. I hit you out.
Whoever hit me, I should hit him back. That competition, that children play, my man.
No, but don't say you hit me.
I know what you say you hit that for.
That's the one I say, team.
The person I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you go to them.
Yeah, but what
you come to them, I say the low.
Listen, I'm not going to attack Stenton because he attacked.
He attacked Tomlin.
You're not able. I'm big you, man.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you don't care when I tell me.
The message to money is not a real sedition. You cannot attack somebody.
Listen, unless otherwise, Tomlin take it. Well, I think Stenton is joking, and I get thick skin. I'm not taking Stenton thing serious. I think he's joking.
Kevin, you're right. Yeah, you are. You
Yeah,
you
so
you
it's
are the
not a
most.
joke.
Okay, that's it. Can I say reaction? So man, I see this.
Let's bring Mr. Jackson. Let's bring Mr. Jackson. Kefigo, let me say something to you. Yes, Stanton joke us Sam Jackson for money thing. You know, that's part of the game. Kefigo, let me say something to you. I'm not going to go back and forth. Kefigo, check the chat room. Tomorrow, just put it in the chat room. Say you are a COVID politician. But let's move ahead. I don't know what that means. Mr. Jackson, we want to say thank you. We're going to open the phone line. At least I start somewhere, right? At least he did. At least he did. Mr. Jackson, we're about to go to the phone line. We want to bring people to call you and ask you why you want them to applaud Commerce Minister Mawani.
Yeah, what you thought is that Jackson.
Why you want them to celebrate her, Mr. Jackson? Hey, Pape.
You should have answered that one.
We're not hearing you. We're not hearing you.
It cost me, but that's okay. I'm a big ball. You know, I got big.
SPJ, I'm a big boy.
You should know I said I will praise.
I know, yeah. I saw it, I saw why he wrote. I felt so bad. I said, "Hey, my Pape writing that thing."
You can do the cussing. Jackson will do the laughing. Yeah?
I know, right?
Do the cussing. Jackson will do the laughing.
I know, right?
Let's open the phone line, Rufus.
You will laugh last.
Drop the ball, man.
0777-771075 055-1010.
This way, now tomorrow we'll be having Madera Cooper on the show. Madera Cooper will be our guest tomorrow, and I think she'll be coming along with Wade Powell. That will be a strong one tomorrow. Go ahead, Rufus.
And I'm sponsor what?
The numbers to call are 0777 771075 055-101075. Caller, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
My name is Hamilton Joe.
You have 1 minute. Let's hear you.
Good morning.
What you were saying is true, but saying Jackson's person in that said yeah, I can be testimony to it because when near my area so far, the police arrested two of rest inside and the police sold arrest for $15. So we want to applaud the police people. Thank you very much.
0777-771075.
Only one good call you will get to that one. That's it. I'm going to go to talk to the Pape from New Time.
Good evening.
Nothing to me.
Good evening. Good evening.
What's your name?
Area from District 2.
A meaning.
So the senior Jackson ain't getting nothing to offer us. And they must start to leave us alone. Rex is not something for you to cancel more and when clap our hand to Commerce Minister. But if any dream and blunders, they might not come and tell us anything in West and what us we're talking over there. That's it. That's the fact.
Thank you.
And then I just leave her alone. Please. That don't move yet. They just die and they just holding their peace. Thank you.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Your name?
This is Conway Jackson calling from outside Miami.
A meaning.
I'm Conway Jackson calling
a
from
meaning.
outside Miami.
You have a meaning, but
I broke on Miami for you.
Let me say something. Bro, I think Samuel Jackson sitting on the studio there talking. Brother, I just ate my last reserves today, which was full cup. And I'm thinking how to get up tomorrow morning to go look for my children. I got 4 children here. And then when Samuel Jackson saying we should applaud my money, but let me just be clear to Samuel Jackson, here my money did not allow in our community. They should come to Bannersville. Let them do that employing right to Jamaica resource. Because I think he's talking, helping people feeling tonight. To say we must employ my money deep. Mr. Johnson, why you want to treat people like this? Don't forget you in Liberia, you're not in America. We can ball up on the street anytime. I cannot see you talking.
Let us not go that
No,
way.
you can't do nothing to me. This man, I'm Marine.
Hello.
Please, hello.
What's your name?
I'm V Mobile Zakam. I'm calling from the thing called this evening.
Let's hear you.
The issue about the right situation like this, I think we Liberians, we are not sincere to our very stuff. That is, Liberians go out, they put the barley rice from the importers for $13, and they bring it out and sell it for 5,000 Liberian dollars, 6,000 Liberian dollars. So I don't know how they feel when they are doing such things. And the issue for my running, I think the president is my president. I love the president, but I don't think he's doing good in maintaining a lady who in my belief, does not understand her own function, or she's just very careless about the work she's doing. Because by right, as a commerce minister, you're supposed to know how much rice is, but that is a political commodity. You have to know on a day-to-day basis how many rice, petroleum, and things we have in country. But instead of that, you guys sit there and allow everything reserve wealth, everything to go short. So I think if the president was serious enough, by now, Marine D's and others who have been dismissed.
Thank you.
But immediate dismissal.
Thank you. Hello. 0777771075 0555 Hello.
Good evening, sir. How you doing?
Great. What's your name and join us somewhere?
Yeah, this is Isaac Randall calling from the second bell.
A minute.
I listened to all that Mr. Samuel Jackson said in there. You know, let me say this to the folks in America, the Stanton and the other groups. You know, this day eating in this country is an achievement. If they bring, you're able to get at least a $250 food to eat, you are achieved great than people that go to school this time. Because if you go into the school, you go to school, you are not focused because you're hungry. Tell me, how are you going to pay attention to your education? If God misled the Liberian people to the extent that out of 16 counties, 14 counties were women voted you. Right now, the people are like slaves to you. We don't understand. I said we're just so disappointed. We know that at the end of the day, they will not have anywhere, anything to go for 2023. Thank you.
Hello.
Ruva, let me tell you after the call.
Hello.
Your name and join us somewhere.
Yeah, my name is Q Marquis Q, second power, the second calling from Mount Bartley community.
Go ahead.
I just want to make a little clarity on caller who just called. He said people go to, how do we call it, free pool and buy $15 to go and sell it for 3,000, 5,000. It's not true. If you go to free pool now, people are buying value up to $18 black D. And in fact, you don't just go to 500 bags. People collect money to make it 1,000 bags of rice at the rate of $18 before you can even get one single bag. And before you get that rice, you need to leave your money to these individuals that are doing the business, that are doing the black bee business. After that, maybe after 2-3 weeks or 1 week plus before you even get your rice. So nobody should tell you that you go to free pool and get bread for $13. It's not true. It's not true. It's far from true. So that's it. That's what I want to make everything on.
Ben. You talking about?
I lost the caller. Sorry, I lost the caller.
Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
My name is Roland Chin. I'm covering the country of West Point. I just want to ask Mr. Waterston a question. If you got a ship that is docking at the free port of Monrovia, we're all doing nothing. You know how many money that ship will pay to APM terminal? If basically the ship is doing it due to the rain, the ship will leave the port later on the rest in the port. There's no rest in the ship. And why is the ship still docking at the free port and they pay per hour? So Mr. Waterston, I really want for you to explain to the Latin people. They're saying there is no rest in the ship. The ship just parking their pay per hour to APM terminal. That ship have been done long time and where it came from, it have been going there. But I believe that it's rest in the ship. Due to the rainfall, even the morning the rain fell heavy. And you see all the creams is not packed. Because when the cream is packed on the ship, even if you can have 4 cream, 3 creams. What is packed, meaning that the top will take it out. But the crew is still up. So the second year parking at number 1 p.m. What fast is the man? They didn't do nothing there, and it's still in there doing what now. So the water is very warm for you to tell them people, since the ship is empty, got no rest, by rest, on Saturday of this fact, that she can be darking, be paying money to APN for darking fees.
Thank you.
Please. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
What's your name?
Kenneth, you'll be calling from Grand Crew.
Let's hear you.
Okay. The issue here, our government is treating us as if to say we are not the people that elected. We stood in the rain, we stood on the sun, we can't vote for them, put the trust in them. But today our president is just turning back on us. The current minister in question here is to make a quarterly or a monthly report. This report has been made. So what was the report that has been made to the president, and what did he took from in that report that up to present we are in the kind of scarcity of fight. We are in the household East part, we feel disconnected. Government doesn't care about us. We are disconnected from the other part of Liberia. No good road for us, no food for us. We just living as if to say we are on our own. The people that run government says they're going to take the side and add into us, add into to our country. Because our government don't care for us.
Thank you. Hello? 0777771075 0555 Hello?
Hello.
Name? Let's hear you.
You know, congratulations to Spoon and Mr. William Spoon. To be very frank, I'm very, very surprised for Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, you one of the old politicians. You know what? All we've been bringing trouble in this country. Mr. Jackson, I'm very surprised of you. I'm an old person like yourself. We're supposed to be educating the youngest one. But what you doing to us? Come and see the children. Go in the community and see the children how they are staff. My God. You know, I can remember when these people said this thing during the war. They tell us, that will never stay on the dry leaf. Land is working like fire. Now all you people have been lying. This is what God has really choked you people on this. You see, when Mr. President came from the United Nations, immediately he got to the port, he said that street thought there's more rain in the city. This is what God has really punished you people to really prove to you people that you people are always lying to Liberia with all the suffering we are taking. Can't in our community, can't see baby man, can't see big women with hunger. This is what God has really shown to you people to Liberia.
Okay.
You people have been lying, but you're lying on our belly, so we can really see because of hunger. Nobody will ever lie on hunger. Can you imagine?
Thank
Mr.
you.
Jackson, I'm very surprised of you. Where I'm at tonight.
Hey man, you should have given him a chance to finish your before.
Here you go.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hear you.
Huh?
My young man, let's hear you.
Thank you. I was thank you for the hard work you have been doing for the Liberian people and advocating for the people. Thank you. Very people in the country. For thank Jackson for this thing that explain my line. I want to thank most of the journalists. We know that some of them they are on the payroll of 20 years. Like people that Juliet Kevin. So we know they are new places. So I would say thank you very much for advocating for the people of the nation. Thank you, bro. I hold your phone. Thank you. You are doing extremely well. People are suffering in the country. We don't know. We are on the ground on the 4-hour civil factory. People work. Thank you, Central.
Let's get the last call. This person. Hello. Hello.
Yes, hello.
What's your name?
I'm Thomas Kumen, calling from Upper College, Miami.
That's it. I am over Miami back. Go ahead.
Mate, you can read that out of Miami, England. In fact. So to the issue, I got just two issues. The first thing, I don't want to take side with Mr. Jackson. Um, he, he spoke and wrote on his Facebook page. So I think the panelists can judge him by that. They can critique him for his post. But CEO tonight, I think you went overboard. Let's be real. And listening to you saying to Mr. Jackson that he went to Mawani D's and she bought him gas and other stuff you're saying, I think you went overboard. Yeah. So if you continue to show like this, then people don't want to come on the show and say, that is, you go there, people will just tell you all kinds of things because the show is nationwide and worldwide. Yeah. But the next issue will come I don't know, you guys are looking at it. Is the issue of gas. The gas price is coming down, but transportation price still high. Imagine somebody trying to buy a for rent when they get $500. Then you have to transfer yourself. The price still remains the same, but gas is down. People buying gas of $7.50. Some area you buy for $7.20, as low as $6.80 or but the prices remain the same. So I want you to look at that too. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. First, we want to say thanks to all of our callers. And to the last caller, we want to say just 2 days ago, OPEC, the people that can produce the oil, they will be cutting back on oil production. All right. People that will be producing the gasoline, the oil to make your fuel and whatsoever. Guess what happened? 200 barrels a day will be cut back.
Mm-hmm.
So your gasoline price about to go up.
It will go up. Yeah.
So it will not be Liberia problem. We should tell you guys this right
let
now.
The government, you right
Okay?
system, let the government communicate it now.
You are quite correct, Ben.
Yeah.
We should tell you guys this because when I watched the news, I was blessed to sit with my accountant and we're going through the numbers. And he said, listen, Stanton, this is our next issue. And he told me, and my wife said, listen, they are cutting back. It means that they will be producing less than 2 million barrels a day. Just a day. So you do the math. The fuel right now, the regular gas is $3.89 in America. If Joe Biden if he doesn't open the reserve, guess what happened? It went back to $4.55 for regular. Liberia, we do not have a reserve. So to you, my brother,
we get reserve?
Where? We get reserve on reserve on fuel. Mr. Jackson, do we have reserve?
What country get reserve or fuel reserve?
America get reserve.
No, our Black Africa, our neighbors.
Liberia all have reserve of rice.
Our neighbors.
Yeah, but we have reserve right now.
You reserve.
No, but we got to announce this, and I want to say,
I'm
going to say to the last caller also. I'm going to say, hold on. I'm going to say to the last caller, to Mr. Jackson. It was no disrespect to Mr. Jackson. He and myself planned this before we came on the show because I called him and he said, but still, that make time for us to force. So it was POGT. You know, I would not disrespect my own Uncle Jackson. It was POGT. I told him I didn't like his writing on Facebook. He said, but I'm coming on the show, then we'll fight. And we did today. But to you guys, OPEC, again, I would tell you, ask Mr. Jackson, he's the economist. He would let you know the guys that are cutting back. They want to hurt America, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and the other Chinese people. They want to hurt America. So they have agreed. They say, we'll not produce your regular amount of oil. We'll hold back 2 million barrels. So then what America did, America said, but then we're going to Venezuela.
Yeah,
we're going to talk to Venezuela.
Oh, they're coming to Venezuela from Venezuela?
Yeah. Exactly.
No, you know I love America.
It's geopolitics.
I love this country.
It's geopolitics. So Biden said, well, I visited you. I visited you. You assured me. I gave you face bump. You assured me that you would not reduce the production. And now you're leaning with Russia. And you have reduced the production. But I'm telling you, man, I'm going to Venezuela.
What?
So they went to Venezuela and they begin to negotiate now with Venezuela.
You got an untapped reserve already.
Yeah.
The 40-year low. The 40-year low in reserve.
So, but let me say something, guys. When the government announced, and this is the good place the government going to find herself.
I love
It is
America.
not the Liberian government. If your fuel price start going up, gasoline and thing, don't get mad. Understand. Now I can agree with Kev. It will be the global system.
But they must communicate, Stanton.
Yeah, but I hate to do this for the government, Mr. Jackson. I hate to do this for the government.
Are we working for the government? We don't want to working for the government.
Mr. Jackson, no, but I will say this: it will not be the Liberian government. It will be the global market because gasoline price is going to go up. Say Spoon told you this today. It is written on the wall. Mr. Jackson, you go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
That's part of the opposition deal.
First of all, I want to thank Stanton and the Spoon family. I mean, this is the democracy I went to jail 3 times for. I never dreamed I was going to live long enough to be in a studio or electronic studio in Sydney, in Monrovia, or a young boy from Sunnywayne, and speaking to people from all parts of the world. But that democracy that I fought for has come through. I want to speak to my Liberian people. I'm not a sycophantic, heartless old man. I've never been that way before. I have fought for you all my life. When nobody of any prominence wanted to go in the street on Monday to find out what was happening in the street, I went there live and spoke to those women. And I didn't abandon them. I have kept a very close relationship with them. They call me and I call them. I met a few of them and I'm having lunch with some of them on Saturday. I'm not heartless. You think I don't know that there is hunger in this country and people are suffering and starving? But this is not the first time that has happened. The micro fiscal situation in this country, when it's improving, it typically doesn't translate into socioeconomic improvements because of what? The structure of our economy. Market work and Bible draw has always been that way. Growth without development has always been that way. This is not the first time. You think I don't know that the people in Sunnywayne are hungry? You think I don't know that the people, a lot of my family, they haven't eaten rice, they're eating farina? You think I don't know that? But when the opposition is standing on the sidelines and hoping and praying that this rice crisis persists so they can capitalize on it and use the hunger and appetite of the masses to rise to power. Every one of these people that come into power, want to come to power, they've been in power before. Look at the Cummings team. You see any Bassa chief on the Cummings team? You see any crew chief on the Cummings team?
We have
the same recycled politicians of yesteryears trying to come back to power. I resent them. We will fight them in the air, in the sea, and on the ground. Okay, so we are talking. No, I'm talking about figuratively, metaphorically. I'm not speaking about because we have a democracy now. Our democracy is strong. We probably have the strongest democracy in West Africa, where 3 or 4 countries have had unconstitutional changes of government, and we've maintained our democracy since 2006. And our democratic credentials is crystallized. Okay? I'm not against the people of Liberia because I want to get a little cheese from the people in power. The people in power, they don't even have the money to finance my lavish lifestyle. They cannot.
LSC.
They cannot. They didn't pay my $55,000 for LSC.
LSC.
They don't drive. They don't pay me to fly around the world with my beautiful consort.
There you go.
They can't afford
the Marine.
I stand on the precipice of history tonight.
King Sam the third.
But I appeal to my Liberian people that those people that want to come back to power had their opportunity. They have $17 billion in support from the OECD countries. They squander those opportunities.
Keep some for Saturday. Keep some for Saturday.
All right. So,
keep some for Saturday.
So
Saturday, you coming back. That's a conversation Saturday.
Mr. Jackson, let me ask you one question.
So does that mean that Mr. Jackson?
Does that mean that President we actually reject your support? Because you from the past too.
Somebody on the line want to talk to you. Somebody want to talk to you. Go ahead. Sam Jackson is listening. Go ahead. Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Jackson. How you doing?
I'm not
Go ahead.
well.
He's listening.
I hear your voice.
Sam Jackson, hello. How you doing?
Who's that?
This is your enemy, Tiola Gibson. You're sitting there on the show talking about Cummings' team. You're just annoyed because Cummings did not pick you. Don't be jealous. You wanted that. You went and visited Cummings. Cummings gave you $100 and eat no all your hustle. So that's why you come sit here and talk about the people on Cummings' team. Do not hate. You wish you were on the Cummings' team. You hustle and hustle and hustle. You've been hustling since 1978 and nobody has your time. You will never have a place on Cummings' ticket. Let me tell you that right now.
You nobody on the Cummings team that have my pedigree. Nobody on that team got my pedigree. So you can't even stop. Nobody on that Cummings team got my pedigree. Not my age, not my
education. How do you say Toga Gewe McIntosh? How can you Toga Gewe McIntosh, former director of the World Bank?
Hey, man, how you bring that man in?
Don't do that, man. Don't do
that.
Don't do that. It's Louis Brown.
Revolutionary credentials also.
Oh man, we revolutionary, baby. I need that thing.
I'm going to tell you the characteristics. I'm going to tell you the characteristics. My age, my education, my credentials, and my revolutionary credentials.
What a revolutionary credential. What a revolutionary credential.
I went to jail.
But jail is not a badge of honor. Why you keep making it sound like jail is a badge of honor?
Send nothing. They were salvo.
3 times we brought multi-party democracy to Liberia. When we were advocating for multi-party democracy, Mr. Dr. McIntosh was working for the Ministry of Planning. So he doesn't have my pedigree as a revolutionary.
I disagree with you. Someone who reached to the level that McIntosh reached in the World Bank, someone who was foreign minister,
revolutionary.
So guys,
not getting great.
I want to announce. Let me announce this, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson.
But you
don't do that, SPJ.
Guys, I have to announce this. You listen, Mr. Jackson, you listen, please. We gotta go. We gotta go. Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, we gotta go, Mr. Jackson. Let's say this.
Jackson, don't do that, man.
Mr. Jackson, you leave Mr. Jackson alone. Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, quick. Grab a man. Hey, Papa, I can talk.
Revolutionary pedigree.
Mr. Jackson, listen. Mr. Jackson, this is what we need to do. On Saturday, we'll be discussing the Alexander B. Cummings team. Names on that team need to be discussed. We are going to bring you back, Mr. Jackson, on Saturday. The first 6 names. Mr. Jackson, hold on, let me explain this. Mr. Jackson, you got to give me a chance. You got to give me a chance, sir. You got Toga McIntosh. You got Louis Brown. You got George Wisner, Daniel Che, Judy Cassell. No, hold on. Let me name them. Please, I beg you, sir. I beg you. You got Wade Power. You got, hold on, Mr. Jackson, hold on now. Hold on. Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson.
But Mr. Jackson, then if these people should not be participating, you yourself are supposed to be in our politics. What are you doing in our politics then?
What are you doing in our politics if these people are not supposed to be in our politics?
Claim he's not going to bring in people from the Olo, but I come and say he Mr. New Hope.
Well,
Jackson, that's
well,
all.
Mr. Jackson.
But they're not government both for me. They put that campaign team. They're not government for me. It's our government hand.
How he brought folks from the U.S. Mr. Jackson.
If it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it must be a duck.
Okay, Mr. Jackson.
How about guys?
Don't mind.
You gotta go, Mr. Jackson.
LSE.
Mr. Jackson, you gotta go.
You won low tonight.
Yeah, man.
LSE, you won very low tonight.
What you doing in our politics?
LSE went very low tonight.
Dr. Peabody, Pastor Body, you cannot be attacking the old man. You're giving
chance. What am I going blazing?
Well, hold on 1 minute, Chairman. Chairman, hold on 1 minute. We gotta go. I beg you, Samuel Jackson, our own pack. For the sake of our audience, we're begging you. Saturday, we're going to have you in studio. We're going to talk about Dr. Toga Gateway McIntosh. We're going to speak about Ambassador Lewis. Hold on, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, hold on, please. We got to speak about Ambassador Lewis Brown. We will talk about Mr. George Wisner, Honorable Dan Morias, Honorable Jonathan Bolcha Segbe. He's new. He's not from the old. We'll consider him. But we're going to talk about Madam Judy Donkey Cassell. Yes. Mr. Daniel Chie. Let's talk about Yeke Korubai. So guys, listen. We got a lot of them. My problem with Mr. Cummings' team, I expected a change. Ben, you're going to give me a chance on this one. Let me do my question. Ben, you're going to give me a chance on this one. Chairman Ben, you're going to give me a chance on the one.
You get a chance. Mute me.
Yeah.
Mute me.
I'll put you in the back. You don't have no right to come back.
I said, you don't say they hack the show by red law, so it's all right. Now
I'm saying something. Chairman, Mr. Cummings promised us that he bringing change. Mr. Cummings said he bringing change. Change with purity. Change with super clean.
Yeah.
Okay? My issue, you have strong men and women in Liberia that are not tinted. They have no bad records. Mr. Cummings' message of change does not reflect his appointment of those guys. If you talk about them, they will have to defend themselves instead of defending Mr. Cummings. I will rest on this. Then you are quite correct.
Yeah.
CDC got NPP members, but CDC didn't say that we are brand new and we are not a hypocrite. No. Let me finish. Let me finish, man. Let me finish, CDC. UP didn't say that we are not part of Madam Salif, though she said she will not campaign for anybody today. But UP didn't say that we are not part of the old. Mr. Cummings said, I am not of the old. I am not of the present. I'm your brand new angel of the future. I think Mr. Cummings is in error. And I think Saturday, you guys are going to do your closing. But we're going to have this conversation Saturday. I think the selection of Mr. Cummings on his starting team as a friend to Mr. Cummings, I think Mr. Cummings was in error on this one. You can say he won the win election, but that's not what he promised us.
So
I was looking for a young man,
a
brand new young man that would say, yes, Mr. Cummings are on your team. I wasn't in the UP government. I'm not in George White government. Let's go fight them. I was looking for somebody like that. Not Ambassador Lewis Brown. I respect Lewis Brown. I respect him. I like the guy. But Lewis Brown is of the old. And I think these guys then will not serve Mr. Cummings right. Let me rest here.
Thank you. And please don't come back.
Chairman, I will not cut you off, will not interrupt you, but I will tell you, you got a minute because we got to go.
Look, you finished talking for 10 minutes. Yeah, I got a minute.
Chairman, you and the man were going back and forth with it, you know. My rest burning. Let me go check it out.
But let me say this. I am excited. Let me tell you why I'm excited. Because I'm looking forward to a fierce election. I'm looking forward to Liberians of all walks of life. First of all, we need to stop looking for angels in the devil's world. That's the first thing we must be clear about. Nobody represented change more than George Weah in 2017. Nobody did. He was the epitome of change, a boy from the slum. George Weah ran 2 times, one as president, one as vice president. George Weah went and picked my mother. Everybody know Joette Taylor, my mom. The woman who was married to former President Charles Ganke Taylor. Everybody should bear and carry their cross. Because you served in the past doesn't make you less of a Liberian or less to contribute. And I understand this notion, and I agree. I believe that those who have put themselves out there should be critiqued. I think it is fair. It is fair game. Because when you get in politics, you should be critiqued. But the measurement I wish we are using, I think is dangerous. Because you know what? Then nobody will be on campaign team in Liberia. Nobody.
Then Mr. Commissioner has said that he's clean. Mr. Commissioner has said that you're bringing change.
You know
Mr. Cummings has said he was bringing change. I think Mr. Cummings is in error only because he promised the Liberian people to bring change. Come to that point.
I'm coming to that point. Cummings said he will. Cummings said he will be the change. I agree.
Say that.
I agree. Cummings said he will be the change. But
what's the change? What's the change?
Cummings said he would. But you know I hating your corn. That's why you want me to interrupt me. Cummings said.
No, Mr. Jackson gave Ben a chance. We gotta go. Finish up, Ben.
I agree.
Hold on, Mr. Jackson. Hold on.
I agree. Cummings said he will be the change. But guess what? Do you know who is the most global change icon that ran for president? Barack Obama. Did you see Barack Obama campaign? Did you see the faces? Yes. It was a mixture of.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
Let me finish.
No. You are not finished.
Oh, but then we're not talking. I'll be talking again.
You're not finished.
Because you don't want me to end.
Yeah, but Captain, they're from a governing team. But Captain, they're from a governing team.
I beg you,
governing team.
Come on, Josh. Don't play that game with us. Transition into the governing team.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Absolutely not. Let me say this. McIntosh will not leave for Mr. Commissar.
No, but
Ambassador Brown.
Yeah, that's what Ben said. When the contract was scrutinized there. But it's not a governing team. That's a different team.
The most impactful to bring people from America.
From America, go run a campaign team right now. So what?
Oh,
You're not brought into a strong election.
All the people running for America.
Do you expect him to bring everybody for America? He went right into Liberia and formed a team. I think that's
commendable.
You
are wrong.
Why?
Let me come. You guys are up there.
The team, but you're coming up. The team not completed.
Your big team is there for a governing team.
Let me close now. Let me close. We'll get it on. We'll do it on Saturday.
And you know what? Cummings have achieved. You know what? Cummings have achieved what he set out to achieve. Cummings have achieved what he set out to achieve. The fact that we're talking about this team. The fact that we're talking about this team.
No, you are not achieving.
No. Let me say this. Shame on you 3 guys up there, man.
Let me bring it down. Let me bring it down.
On stage, that was a shame on you guys.
What are you talking about? Shame on
you. Listen to your advice. They will not win election. Listen to your advice. Well, you're giving them the right advice there. You get out to the talk. You're talking. We're going to talk.
You know, then
We're going to talk.
went into like
Okay, you talk.
he utilized the local on the ground and form of
my man,
peace.
okay, you're 3 seconds.
But
get Kev the chance to speak.
You're 3 seconds.
That's the way he's starting the conversation.
You guys.
The way he's starting the conversation is about somebody.
You know why? For Tommy and you guys to say, oh, that's Tim Cummings. You think Louis Brown and Toga them?
You play left on the last.
Your campaign team you formed in 2017. Is that who you put it on the cabinet?
Are you serious?
The President Weah put his campaign team on the cabinet. Did his campaign team work?
Yes.
Louis Brown
Who?
Not that I might get a chief of staff.
Yeah, man.
I want to put on ECDC for 2005.
What are you talking? You know who are on the campaign team? I don't have Macintosh.
My man, Ben, give him a chance to speak. My man, Kev, you better speak because I'm not saying anything.
I'm not going to say anything yet. He's not saying anything. Okay? You in the same thing.
Let's go to
a always right on the ground.
You always miss me with the closing.
Grassroots Liberians.
I think you should mute them.
Grassroots Liberians.
No, you have muted nobody. Nobody muted.
Yeah, but you always
talk.
Yeah, serious. You know, CEO.
Stop putting to that before the guy come back.
Mute them.
Seriously. Because CEO, when I do that, you get upset. CEO,
hey, come on, Tom, man.
Because I will do it to them too.
Oh, Tom,
come on, you are on three.
You can count after
you are on three. Don't try here, man.
Grassroots, I will do it. Okay, I will do it. Because CEO can I will do it.
All through and I get text message from Mariah Kula.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem.
The grassroots, my married children, all part of that team.
These guys are so deceitful that Cummings came as a clean agent, and he said, doing the same thing over and over again, and you expect different.
You're talking about governance and policy and implementation, right, man?
That's the team. That's what Cummings said. For these three guys to come here and tell the Liberian people, right, and say, oh no, that governing time, that this. You're fooling the Liberian people. You're fooling the Liberian people because Cummings team gave 300,000 names for people who hence dead. They say they're not part of that.
We got 300,000 names.
Oh, you fucking you
get a Christmas.
My name was never on the list.
Ben, why you refuse?
I never refused.
Why you refuse?
But Ben on power stage, man.
I have been on nothing.
This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Good luck, Jim.
That accordingly the cash generated $1,525. Okay.
What?
Now what's this?
I know a lot of people have talked about.
What's this?
Oh, guy. They ball that too much.
James, listen.
Got a G's, man.
That's what I'm waiting you. You don't want to hear that now.
Need to do it a little bit.
Which one did?
What's this going on?
A few moments later.
I told the general secretary for the reason people started logging off the meeting. But they are the largest law in the chat room. How are we going to do the practice of we're going to raise for? Who's going to put that person of money into the group? That's the
That's for a reason.
If we want to make a lot of voices here in this party, we want to be the one to kill for this party so that we don't have one person and one is so much because they are making a lot of fun. We have to contribute to one party. Our political parties in the Western world, how is it run? That is why they make
What, did somebody hack us or what?
Let's do something and we keep our father up. We can't keep posting up numbers and then we can't do nothing.
I think so.
You can control it.
No, I think that James doing it. I don't know what he's doing, but I think it looks interesting. Let's watch it.
At the JMB,
Oh, that Unity Party?
I think that UP fundraiser.
Yeah. You should pay attention to the clip. You're not paying attention to the clip, so you're confused. So there's something about the clip, right? James told me that Ben saying somebody said a UP fundraiser, and they raised $1,500 all night.
I ain't getting that out of what there, bro. They
So they raised $1,500 all night. So they got saying money feeling going. I don't know where it came from.
Oh,
yeah, is that true? What was this?
I don't know.
Somebody, what was it?
No, you people come to talk to
yeah. I tired for you people.
No, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, UP raised 1,500.
That's the rumor I heard. I didn't see the tally sheet. I didn't see the thing. I will not be like you. When I see it, I will say government spent 18 million. I won't be like you. I gotta see. I gotta see it.
But we gotta investigate this deal.
Now you talking. We gotta investigate.
We got to put risk 1,500. That's a problem. Is that
sure you knew about anything coming on?
No. Like James put it in.
Why you asking me questions like that? Because I told you.
Killer.
Is that your killer?
No. So the risk 1,500.
I found out what that.
I see you, man.
Why are you running away from me?
I
gotta go home before the opposition people go attack me.
Mr. Jackson, two things I will tell you tonight, Mr. Jackson. One, I didn't like your letter on Facebook, but two, I like your statement on the Cummins team.
Oh, yeah.
Because I do believe Mr. Cummins is in error. Mr. Cummins knew he wanted to go for election to win. Mr. Cummins knew that Labria is a small. Listen, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Cummins knew that Labria is a small place, right? Don't come like you injured giver.
He needs experienced hands to be able to run.
I think that team is in error.
He needs experienced hands. Stan Jackson, you part of the We Are campaign team. You're not experienced hands.
I don't want to be in the cabinet.
But forget cabinet, better. Who on our team? Did the mentor you said I cabinet there?
I cabinet.
Oh, please.
Oh, come on, Papa. Don't do that to my SBJ.
We're going to be having like Della Cooper and White Power. We'll be discussing the Cummins team.
All right.
Guys, have a good night. We'll meet again. Let God bless you.
This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Good luck, Jim.
That accordingly the cash out generated 1,500.
JB talking so?
My man.
No, I don't know who was talking.
I don't eat that one there.
James, what you got to take from James?
I ain't that one now.
James, let me tell you something, James. You follow Stanton, eh? They will whip you in that country over there. I'm telling you what.
But beginning in that country no more.
All right, I'm not telling you. You must be calling your boss, yeah? All right.
But begin going, you're not in that country no more. James, tell me for God, so where you got a tip from?
I got it from one of them.
Oh, so this thing I went last week or last weekend?
Yeah, I think it was around last weekend, okay. Somewhere around there. I'm proud of you. Good night.
How much it raised? $1,535.
$1,535 after 5 hours.
After 5 hours. Hey man. After 5 hours?
Yeah. And how much ANC and CDC get raised?
Mr. Comey said he got to raise $1 million in Maryland.
The last time it almost went.
ANC won't buy it. They get ATM machine where they
No, but ANC said they will not raise that money because ANC have a 3 fraction. They get ANC Global Midwest. That the people from Chicago, they say they're mad with the ANC Global. Yeah. Okay, we're explaining that story on Saturday. ANC Global Midwest, that the Nima people there. They don't like what the people do here in Maryland. So one of them called me.
Who, Tiola?
Tiola,
and which part Tiola with?
Tiola with the ANC Global.
Okay.
But the ANC Global Midwest. Check on your phone. Put ANC Global Midwest. You will find them. They are saying they are not part of this ANC. Tiola and ANC. So there's a breakaway. There's a fashion. Yeah, there's a fashion coming up. They said they are not part of it. They said because they raised a lot of money, and there's another issue, guys. They raised a lot of money, but Mr. Cummings took only one person, Vivian Sambula, from the ANC. And the other person Mr. Cummings took was Emmanuel Yato. Emmanuel Yato is not in the ANC Global from America. So all the money they sent to Liberia, Mr. Cummings didn't recognize them.
Yeah, but
so the only reason why now they're still talking about the ANC Global Midwest, because ANC Global Midwest supporting Musability. That the Nima people own ANC. So it's a big listen, come back Saturday.
All of these news them from.
Come back Saturday. So that's a big issue with the whole ANC Global. If you have your phone, your computer in front of you, folks, go and put in ANC Global Midwest. And you put in ANC Global, you will see the differences right there. And then people are saying they are not part of this.
Don't
tell a call. Don't tell a call. Don't tell a call. I get a power. She cannot speak. But there's a big thing. The ANC Global Midwest is a big issue. They're not happy with Mr. Cummings. And they are saying they're taking sideways. They're taking sideways. They're taking sideways. Benedict. They're not happy with Mr. Cummings. We'll be bringing them on the show. They will talk to us. ANC Global Midwest. Yeah, but guys, you have to.
So you bring in ANC Global Midwest.
They come on the show. Yeah, I spoke to them. No, but they reached out to me, Ben. I spoke to them. ANC Global Midwest reached out to me. They didn't like some things happening in ANC.
That means supposed to talk it. I mean supposed to do it. That means supposed to do it. I mean supposed to talk it.
I like what is made of the that Jamaican music there. But folks, join us again on Saturday. We'll talk about ANC. Tomorrow, my dad Cooper and our sister, Wade Power.
Midwest.
Yeah, ANC Global Midwest. James, can you please do it and show it? Go on your phone. ANC Global Midwest.
No, I know the Midwest thing you're talking about, but I thought everybody's together because
they are not. So they got 3 different ANC bands, and I will announce this. They get a how you call Muna Faha ANC, the ANC America, the Muna Faha ANC. All the Muna Faha ANC, they get a ANC Global. The ANC Global that White Tiola they're in. Then they had a breakaway from the ANC Global to the ANC.
Ain't all of them supporting Mr. Cummings?
No, listen, let me help you. They were supporting Mr. Cummings there after this selection.
The campaign team?
The campaign team
finished. So what everybody?
No, you don't do that. They consider the second, third tiers.
So they wanted to be on the first list.
They are not part of the 21 players. They are the
21 players?
On the football game, you got 21 players.
You know what? I'm not even encouraging you. The questions I'm asking you are encouraging you to just be talking. Let me stop.
But ask me a question.
No, I see you, man.
But come back Saturday, Ben. We'll explain it better. And we got videos. We got everything to show you. They will be on the show.
So you invite somebody from the South account too?
Yeah, I am. I invited somebody from ANC Global.
He all in it too. He all in it with Stanton.
I know some of them. They reached out to me. The only reason they are not in ANC is because
Kev on Saturday. I thought Kev off Saturday.
No, Kev would never be off.
Kev will relish the opportunity toast.
Kev can never be off, to tell you the truth. And then Kev,
you got something to do on Saturday?
Kev, you got something to do?
The only thing I would say, right? Anytime you guys saw how these three guys were very organized.
Okay.
When they talk about the ANC, you see how they organize.
They're strong, they're passionate.
Yes, they interrupt the whole show.
Kev, I'm independent.
The three ANC guys.
I just listen, Kev.
I'm watching them, and I will interrupt them with it coming after.
No, but Saturday, I don't think they all would be here. Saturday,
because I never thought that. I never thought that. I never thought that. But let me say this. Cummings doing some great job at taking one away from us. Yeah, Timothy George, about taking Timothy George away from
Timothy is an original sedition.
Yeah, you know sedition. Yeah, you are not gonna citizen meeting.
On the show,
you not nobody in CDC. We are for
you.
Yeah, we start from CDC right. You know our citizen mission.
Kafigo, I will say to you, somebody can say all that thing in history right now. I can announce on the show with my hand open. Somebody is a strong sympathizer of the ANC.
And I you're strong sympathizer of CDC. You are strong sympathizer of CDC.
Respect the CEO.
Yeah.
Respect the CEO. Respect the CEO. Respect the CEO. Somebody is a strong supporter.
Okay, but CEO, let me say this.
Yeah, you're gonna. This is for Mao. You know they want. This is for Mao. You can.
Anytime you went against ANC on this platform, the whole week still was on. Show me any day that you ever went against ANC on this platform.
It depends on the issue we're discussing. I've been objective.
Show me, call one day.
Yes,
CEO was attacking the government all this few weeks. You show me whenever you
what's your talk? Is it they don't want power? My time for what? But what's attacking for?
You see, he cannot say it still.
What did he say? You blind. You are blind wireless. Yeah, you blind. You see why you said what I did? You blind. But
Somebody let go. Cam, let's go. Guys, the show is over.
Anything your boss can do? Anything you can do?
And they still making flour in the bag.
They still making flour in the bag. Let me bring it back.
Men are blind loyalty. I'm not blind. I don't see raps that way.
My man, you say you're not ANC. Whenever you ever say anything against ANC,
Kev, if it calls a citizen, I'll criticize them.
break it up. Tell me
the beauty of the show. Kev, the beauty of the show for us to be who we are. All right.
Oh my God.
We are for the Liberian people. That's why we sacrifice our time to come and speak on the issue.
No, you know I can enjoy.
You mentioned the show the other day. We'll be going to Minnesota.
Yes.
Winfred Russell was on the Kia Riggs and Mr. Siafa. They all were on. Once given yeah, that's why I said I'm waiting for my wife to give me the green light. My wife said she will give my answer on Monday. And, so once she tell me on Monday, we gotta set the date.
Yo, we got to getting cool, bro.
It's you.
I've been a very good ball. Yeah, I hope you ask your wife for.
Well, I get permission, brother. Claire.
When you get Claire?
Yesterday, bro. The show. I listen to the show.
Wow.
I Claire.
Yo, can I go?
Brother, I Claire, brother. Trust me. I Claire.
Then I didn't you say Claire.
Yeah, my man. Claire. I say I Claire. Lead the thing. Yeah, man.
Chairman, you be my time back.
Yeah.
You
know me and you in the same boat that you can be put on. Me and you in the same boat.
Yeah.
You want to hear my answer, right?
You go in Minnesota?
Yeah, don't answer. Come with us. Come.
You want to hear my answer?
But Timothy, are you telling
me to ask the CEO of Biami for my talking the way I can answer? So you want to hear my answer?
Timothy, let's ask Timothy, are you clear with your wife pressure?
My daughter's done. My daughter don't give me the permission to go.
No, your wife Precious. Are you clear with her?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I see you, okay.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Get away off the radar, I see you.
The mind.
Okay, Tomlin, come back now. Hit him too.
I see you.
Yeah.
I'm
asking question too. I see you.
I dare you, Timothy, ask me questions.
Again, I dare you to ask the question.
He's better see you. He's better see you.
I see you, yeah.
It's always good to be here. It's time to go. John the team on tomorrow, God willing, for another splendid presentation. The name is Rufus Divine Khan, and I lead another follow. First among equals, of course, I'm destined for greatness. James Good Flume is on the other end. Together we say good night. Bye-bye.
What is happening in Africa? Just to